All right, now I got us live. Ooh, excuse me. Got us live on YouTube and just waiting on Rockfin, of course. Hello to everybody out there. This is a Political Matrix. I am one of your two hosts, Marcus Young Morpheus Cage, here with my brother and colleague and co-host, Mr. Cy Lawson. How we doing, bro?
I'm doing well, Marcus. What's up to everybody tuning in? And, thanks for coming through. Yeah, in that new Marcus, you already know what it is. Just looking forward. There's a lot. There's a lot to discuss tonight. There's not every topic in the title is going to require 30, 40 minutes or so. But these are just a couple of things that made the headlines the last several days at the very least anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm good, man. How about you?
Yeah, man. I'm good. Just I don't know, crazy week I had. Just glad that on to the weekend. Always enjoy sitting down, chopping it up with you. Oh yeah. I guess I'll start this off for those who are in here, who frequent the Savvy Sab show. I will be joining Savvy tomorrow, for a quick segment. So I'll hop on and talk about some stuff. Y'all make sure to check that out. Also, I wanted to shout out. Tones. Our boy over there, he got a part in a movie coming up, which I'll try to bring him on the
I
show to
saw
talk
that.
about it. So we definitely want to talk to Tones. Plus, I went back and I looked over an old interview that I did last time he was on the show, and it was a segment in there that I'm like, man, this is mad relevant for right now. All the shit that's going on. So I'm working on editing that video up and uploading some clips from that from last year. So it's gonna
Oh,
be
okay, that's what's
interesting.
up.
Remember, he had his Diddy interaction. So I'll leave it at
Mhm.
that, and I'll let y'all check out the clips for those who didn't see it at the time. And then, of course, I'll link in all of those to the original on my other channel. Yes. Jared says, "Oh, I'll definitely be there. Sabby may be surprised to
What
see
do
me."
you
Uh-oh.
what's the what's the topic tomorrow for you?
Um,
Israel Palestine?
no. Um, uh, I think it'll be talking about racism in the housing sector.
Hmm. Okay.
So that'll be something fun. Yes, and I do know Miguel H. In fact, let me start your comment because actually that's one that we could even start on that one right away and get that one knock that one out. Um, no, we'll hold on that comment about Mexico's elections, which they have election going tomorrow. So that's definitely a topic that I will pin that and we will come back to it. Um, I figured let's start off with a little bit of fun. Chris, in the research chat,
Yeah.
I uploaded a video from Fox. Could you grab that one?
Oh, okay.
I'm not even not giving y'all no warning what's coming. I'll just let y'all see this story. Um, hey, with all the crazy shit that's going on, I gotta throw some levity in there somewhere. And I got some funnier stuff to talk about later on. And of course, we definitely got some topics not fun to talk about. But got to remind people that we are a fun show also. Yeah, so go ahead and play that.
Hundreds of balloons carrying North Korea flying hundreds of balloons carrying trash and feces towards South Korea Wednesday, calling them, quote, gifts of sincerity. Images released by the South Korean military showed inflated balloons with plastic bags tied to them, while others showed trash all over the place. And we saw the word excrement written on one of the bags. South Korea said more than 260 balloons were detected, most of them carrying animal feces and rubbish. The balloon campaign came as North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un urged his military scientists to overcome a failed satellite launch and continue to develop space-based spy capabilities. Do want to talk more about all of this, so let's bring in Dr. Edward Howell, a lecturer in politics at the University of Oxford, joining us now. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you very much. It's very good to be here.
All right, so first off, I have to ask you, this is obviously very bizarre. So my question for you, has North Korea ever done anything like this to the best of your knowledge?
Which that's
Yes,
good there,
so
Chris. We can stop
This
it.
is a very odd instance of the nature of what has been attached to these balloons.
Yeah, so that's the story. They've had back and forth between them, and there was a law which got taken down about them sending propaganda across the borders from South Korea into North Korea. Since that law has been repealed, the activists in South Korea have been sending all kind of stuff about their version of how things are, and oh well, it's so much freer over here, and blah 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 blah. So they've been sending whatever their political rhetoric to North Korea. So North Korea, in return, decided to send them a message. So, what's your thoughts on that crazy story?
I mean, if you send the shit balloons, I don't know. I might have to bomb you, dog. Like, that's nasty. You know what I'm saying? Yo, that could start a war on its own, right? You know, it's one thing if your neighbor, think about it. If your neighbor leaves their trash in your yard, you're going to be pissed, right? You're going to be extra pissed if that whole trash bag opens up and it was nothing but shit. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have a problem, B, straight up. So, yeah, they better be careful. They better be careful.
And they said, I mean, I don't know what animals, or is it a mixture of animals that they collect and just make like a whole mishmash of a bunch of different poops to send to them? I don't know, but it shows North Korea is definitely very creative in their weapons of war. And so
yeah, just imagine if you was walking on the street. It's bad enough when a bird shit on your shoulder or in the back of your head or some shit. Like, imagine like some heavier levels of excrement. Nah, son, you got me all messed up. I'm gonna go trace that balloon back to its origins, dog. Somebody, nah.
I'm almost surprised they didn't keep somebody on the border, like a sharpshooter, so they could just start shooting the balloons while they're in the air.
Yo, dog, just look how low they think of you. You wouldn't even send a bomb. You would send a bag of shit.
I saw that story. I was like, what the hell? I mean, we are living in a clown show for real. When that's what's going down.
Yeah, no, this is no bueno.
So you already know it's going to get more interesting, because I imagine this is only going to escalate. You can't send a bunch of trash and excrement to people, and it's just like, oh, we're gonna let this one go. We just okay, they got us.
If we think about it, though, it is a good. That's essentially what our political system and our media does deliver to us. So that is a real life example of what it is, right? And some of our topics fit into that, like the Puffy shit, bag of shit, the Trump shit, bag of shit. The thing they're trying to pass in Haiti, for the thing they're trying to tell the world who the Haitian government is now.
In fact, let's since you brought up Haiti, let's just go on into that one next, because with this whole cycle of, we got a whole bunch of, this year is going to be like a year of elections. You got elections, of course, that we'll talk about later on in Mexico. You have this prime minister that's going to be taking over now in Haiti. We got India has some elections going up. We got elections going on, and there's more elections that are going to be going on. And of course, we'll talk about them as we get closer to those. But for intensive purposes, as far as I guess we'll have to talk about Trump a little bit too in a minute. But
I would say we may as well just start there, since I was.
Or do you want to start Trump? Yeah, let's go ahead and do Trump, because then the other ones are got a little bit more packed in with those stories. No pun intended.
So they found,
packed in.
So they got his ass. They found his ass guilty on 34 counts, as everybody knows by now, earlier in the week, right? And this is all stems from his would-be hush money payment to Stormy Daniels. One thing I have to say: do we know that the system is crooked? I mean, I didn't need Trump to go through this to know that the justice system is screwy. I didn't need to watch him go through this to know that it's highly political. A lot of people are waking up, or very upset at how the system works as a result of them being fans of Trump. But again, you ignored everything every single time people tried to tell you that the system was messed up. You either, when you heard it, you dismissed it, and you just outright ignored it and pretended that it didn't happen. Now you're paying attention to it as a fan of Trump, and you're like, wait, this is an injustice. Let me fly my flag upside down, and let me virtue signal as much as I can, and all this other stuff. One thing I will say is this resulted in a ton of donations for Donald Trump. So again, Marcus, you and I have mentioned this on this program a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
It seems as if they're playing right into his hands to help him gain the most amount of supporters and to keep the ones he already has. Nothing they're doing is leading to him losing supporters on any level.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to me. Part of me still goes back and forth as far as, are the Democrats, are they just this much cognitive dissonance, or are they complicit in trying to prop Trump up? Because none of the shit they're doing is going to work. Let's play it out. Let's think of it. Let's say the 34 charges that he got hit with, and he gets the maximum sentencing for these 34 counts. What's the most is he looking at, Chris? Let's say they throw the book at him. They give him the most they can give him.
I was wondering that. I don't know. I ain't even going to pretend to know. I don't know what the number is.
I mean, I don't know either. I would assume it can't be any more. And if anybody knows in the chat, please hop in and correct us, set us straight. Or if you know in particular, enlighten us. But I can't imagine it could be anything more than maybe some kind of fines, probation, up to a couple of months at max.
I mean, I think you could use the word several years, right? I just feel lazy. I don't feel like typing it up. I probably should, but anyway.
I'm gonna try to see if something will come up on it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Hold on. The legal system, it does not move quickly at all. So given that given that sentencing takes place next month, there's most definitely going to be an appeal filed. We won't see a resolution to this for the next at least 8 to 9 months. which clearly takes us past the election. If he's on the ballot, I feel he will win, unless they cheat like they did last time. Again, that's not me saying this as a supporter of dude. You already know I don't, I don't rock with him like or any of them like that.
It says
But again,
it says up to 4 years, Chris.
4.
Interesting, right?
So you did that for 4 years. You spent all the people's money. Well, not the people's money, but you spent that money on. I guess when it's not your money, you don't really care, right?
Right. Yeah, they're saying a max of 4 years. And then you got to factor in he'd be a first-time offender. He doesn't have a criminal record, as far as we know of. Unless they're going to try to use, the pending cases you have against you, or just say, all the charges that you've had thrown at you, because he's had stuff that's been dismissed. So, I mean, and keep in mind, for those who are like, who are Biden supporters, or you feel like, Trump is guilty and no man is above the law, blah, 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 whatever. I get that. I am not a Biden supporter. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm just looking at this from the lens of how things go in comparison. And it just seems like we watch politicians of that level, of that stature, don't even get charged for stuff like this. And many of them are doing stuff which can be charged. Don't let that ever fool you. Don't think that, he's just doing something that's way, way out of the norm. A lot of these presidents and former presidents and chiefs of staffs and all these people are doing illegal stuff on a regular basis. They are just not being held to account. And that's what the whole MAGA people are all upset about. Now, do I think they're belly aching and overly whining about this like it's the end of the world and they're talking about a civil war and shit like that? I think that's ridiculous. But because I'm like, who are y'all going to be fighting? A civil war would typically be a war against the others. Do you think a bunch of Biden people are about to pull guns and fight y'all? I mean, come on, that doesn't even make sense. The only people that you'd be fighting, I'm talking about on an actual physical way, you'd have to be fighting the cops and military and FBI and stuff. I mean, is that really what y'all plan on doing? Because I don't see how y'all raise up this insurrection for doing this. I just don't see it. I think you got more people in this country who don't give a shit either way, honestly, than people who would be in favor of this, joining this supposed war. So it just doesn't make sense to me. Plus, half of MAGA or more, I won't even say MAGA, I'll say half of the voting populace in this country are damn near senior citizens, if not already senior citizens. They're not going out fighting shit. I'm sorry. It's just not happening. Also, you got too many of these voters, because a lot of people who are engaged in politics like this are worried about their taxes and things like this, and they're worried about how much their interest rate's going to go up, or they're worried about how much capital gains taxes, and they're worried about stuff like this.
Exactly.
The moment some bullets start whizzing around, watch all that shit drop. So I just don't see any of that energy. Just like when I was hearing Clayton Morris at Redacted talk about the Civil War is going to start with the blacks in Chicago are going to fight the undocumented. I'm like, man, it's weird to me how much of a complete fundamental misunderstanding of so-called fellow. Well, Clayton lives in Portugal, so I don't know what the hell he be talking about half the time. I mean, but these people who think that, yes, black people in the inner city are going to be the face of the Civil War. Come on, seriously.
I had to tell somebody yesterday, I said, watch, they're gonna show you who the originals are, and that shit just gonna pass over. I say you should sit in your house and let it pass over you. Don't let it go over your head, right? Because there's absolutely no need to involve yourself in anything that would happen as a result of the political situation in the United States. That would be stupid for you to get yourself worked up in. It really would. It will make no difference because you're not really attacking any power centers. You're fighting along the edges. You're not even really pushing to get to the actual decision makers. We're dealing with not even middle management yet. You're dealing with like a shift manager.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I look at it like this. This is where I realize that like these conservatives don't understand the fundamental difference between our communities. It is a form of that's, and also it kind of admits a form of the privilege. If you feel like you could wage a war against this government, that's something that honestly, just call it how I see it. This is a white person's thinking. Black people do not ever think that, yeah, it's a good idea to go raise up weapons and start fighting a war, and it's gonna turn out all right for us. Not in this country.
We were just talking about the move bombing, 2 weeks ago in Philadelphia?
Yeah, we touched on it briefly, but yeah, the move bombing is a great example.
So look, those people were actually minding their own business. They were not getting ready to take over the government of Pennsylvania or the city of Philadelphia, much less. And they got bombed. They knew
for playing music too loud, basically.
Man, for whatever it is, for what they represented, they were bombed.
That's really what it was, because they weren't a threat. Maybe an ideological threat of pulling people out of the system, but they were no physical danger or threat to anybody.
And they'll talk, and they'll mention what is it, Ruby Ridge. And what's the other one? We Ain't Coming Out.
Waco.
Yeah, they'll mention those things, but they're not ready for it. It's just online talk. And again, here's the thing: if I'm Donald, I'm feeling real good. I just made how much money?
Yeah.
How much money? They said in the first 12 hours he had made $39 million. And they received $39 million in 12 hours. Yo, that's a hell of a see what I'm saying? That's some money. In 12 hours, you tell me I brought in $39 million?
Yep. Fascist propaganda and fear mongering. That's all that is. Well, I don't even think it's just fear mongering, because I really do believe they think everybody else really does think like them, and that this stuff that they're up in arms about, they believe everybody else is up in arms too, and just is upset about this stuff too. But the media is just lying, and they're underrepresenting this black undercurrent of people who think like them. Well, and I won't even say black. I'll say non-white, non-conservative. That like, most of the people really do think like we do. Like, but
I mean, look, the entire strategy of the opposition to Trump all of their moves end in helping him either raise a shit ton of money like we just witnessed, or making his supporters believe in him even more, despite them. And this should be a case study for his supporters, right? Especially the ones who were against COVID. The guy's now running around calling himself the father of the serum, right? He's so proud about being the one who pushed the button on Operation Warp Speed. He's not overly critical about Dr. Fauci. He didn't move him from the administration when he had the ability to do so, and his supporters are totally anti, the anti everything that happened during that time period, and they're still lined up to support him. The second issue, you see them now talking about the state of Israel and how their group is overly represented here in the United States. The balance of power is out of balance as it relates to them, right? This is what you see. This is the conversation we see online, right? And then you tell them, well, Trump's son-in-law is family with Milkowski, right? And they don't want to hear it.
Well, it's kind of funny you brought up Milkowski. I don't know. Did you see the Richard Medhurst video that he released? Talking about the prime ministers.
Oh, the one where they all got the different names? Oh, yeah. I peeped that. But people have been talking about him. But people have been talking about him with his name and
well, I think most people have knew about his name. They knew that he had a different name, but I just don't think most people know. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Richard Medhurst did a video the other day, and it went through all the Israeli prime ministers, what their real names are, because all of them changed their name to try to sound more Hebrew. And I'm talking about going all the way back to the very first one. None of them names that they're going by is their birth names. They all have Eastern European names.
And we probably have a video on this maybe from 3 years ago at this point, even talking about that, right?
Yeah, we probably have talked about it at some point. Yeah,
we did. It's even here. They did the same thing here. They changed their names here too. I mean, they're not the only group of immigrants here, if you will, that changed their names. So for that, I'm not gonna hold that much against them, because obviously we know the Asian community changes their names a lot as well, right? We know that for a fact. However, I think one is just easier. The other one is a little more complicated, if you will.
Well, I think the difference would be that when you're holding to a claim of land and resources built on people accepting you as said identity, I think that's a little bit different. I mean, a lot of those different Asian name changes that you'll be talking about, and a lot of times I think it springs to mind, and I don't mean to pick on y'all, but India in particular, when they come to the States, there's a handful of names which many will change their names to, because these are families of wealth and prevalence. And so if you have that name, it's more likely for them to get into places of opportunity, especially with people who come from India also, who have already made it, and they see you with that name. It's more likely that they can, give you a chance. So I definitely know what you mean by that, about the name changing. Which, if it was just for some economics, which isn't hurting anybody, that's one thing. But when you're trying to use it to bolster a claim of you taking land which people are on, that's a little different. I mean, I guess it's no different than what some of the $5 Indians did back in the day, when they would switch to a name and then buy themselves on a registry, and now I'm Cherokee. It's like, yeah, sure you are, dude. Sure.
Sticking with the you ever see the videos on Twitter of the North Sea, where the waves look all crazy?
The what? The North Sea.
You ever see the videos that show the North Sea?
Yeah. In fact, I was just watching a video the other day about that lighthouse that they pay what is like a 1.2 million to work in that lighthouse for a year.
Okay, so
That one's in, yeah, that one. I believe that lighthouse is in the North Sea.
okay, so I only bring just rock with me for a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
So geographically, you know where that is, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, good. You know it's not off the coast of Africa,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, good. Please, just so you know our
I'm walking with you. I'm walking.
all right. So some of our FBA friends, they see this video of the waves in the North Sea.
Mm-hmm.
They say, "Yeah, there's no way they brought us here on slave ships."
Oh, for real? For real? Wow.
So in my mind, what made it funny to me, because I have to, stupidity kind of triggers me at times, so I have to laugh. I have to find the humor in shit, right? So the Portuguese took the slaves they purchased in somewhere in West Africa. They went all the way up to the North Sea. They spun their ship around there a couple times. And then they went back south and west to the Caribbean, because that route makes the most sense,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So
Exactly.
are these the? Because I guess maybe like I don't know are the ABO movement part of the FBA too, or is like a offshoot, or trying to
Who?
figure the
Adolf? What?
No. I'm not talking about ADOS because most
Oh,
ADOS, when it was ADOS, I don't even know if ADOS is still the thing anymore, if they just all rebranded to FBA. But I know ADOS used to be people who did believe in the transatlantic slave trade. Um,
yeah.
but
But they,
now I think that there is a big undercurrent of people who are completely saying that no, there's no possible way that we came from Africa in any kind of capacity, that we
yes.
were always
Yes.
just here.
Here.
And some of them believe like, because I believe that's mostly the Aboriginals,
And
and
it's a
the
myth.
Aboriginals have
The,
started kind of moving into the FBA also.
the transatlantic movement of bodies, whether it be slaves, crew, indentured servants, pirates, workers, merchants, you name it, whatever your capacity was at that time, right? There's a lot of movement of life and material, cattle, etc.
Mm-hmm.
You telling me all of that was just fake? So how did people from how did the Spanish get here?
How'd the British get here? I
The
mean,
Dutch.
I mean, it's actually rougher seas coming from, say, Great Britain to the Caribbean, far greater than it would be coming directly from the tip of Africa or West Africa straight into the Caribbean.
So, of course, they, yeah. So
I
the
mean,
video, like,
there's literal currents that once you hit those coming off the coast of Africa will take you straight into the Caribbean. I mean, you don't even need sails. I mean, all the boat do it just got to get there.
son, don't pretend to be smart, though. Don't pretend as if this stuff hasn't been written down. Please stop. Okay, we just got to play stupid. That's more entertaining. But
Well,
yeah,
then how do you explain tribes in Africa with materials that, regardless of which person got them there, materials that came from the Americas, the compounds of like different arrowheads and things like that, that clearly came from the Americas and made it to Africa. Oh, hold on. Oh, hold on a second.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very it's very funny, Marcus. It's funny and sad at the same time because I don't know who's doing this as a troll, and I don't know who is um, taking this information in as fact. And the ones who would take it as fact, oh man, it's always the ones who know the least or the loudest about shit. So, I hope that they, I hope that one day they switch perspectives on this, because like I said, they saw a video of the North Sea and really thought that the trip across the Atlantic was just like that. That it was.
Well, you got to address Chris H's comment here.
No, but they are separating it by government. So they're not interested in what happens with the Brazilian government or
in fact, they almost have a form of contempt for anybody who's non-foundational Black American.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it don't matter.
You can believe whatever. For me, grab that. For me, I guess. Hold on one second. Somebody knocking at my door.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so this thinking that they have, like, I've always made the argument. Yes, I support reparations for all people who deserve reparations. I felt the Irish, in a sense, are even owed a form of reparations from the British. I mean, now my mindset is how reparations works is you got to get reparations from who did what to you. So it's the same thing with, like, if me and Chris got into an accident and I hit his car, I owe him restitution for the damages and anything that happened to Chris. It's the same thing. So if India did something to said people, then India would have to pay. So my mindset in it is, we, while pushing for this, should be backing our brothers and sisters in the different parts of the diaspora in their claims, just like they back us in our claims for each. But that's not their thinking. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
If you listen to them, then that makes you a corny Pan-Africanist, and you need to go to Africa with that shit since you want to go help them. Their whole thing is they're American, us first.
Screw everybody else.
If you can't trace your lineage back to whatever here in the States, then you're shit out of luck. Like, we're not clicking up with nobody because we did the most, we helped everybody, and we're not interested in you because you have not been an ally to us in anything that we've wanted to do. So, that's their mantra, if you will. I don't mind. Yeah. I don't mind people who want to be. I don't mind people who want to be self-sufficient. I guess stop being stupid with the things you believe. Be self-sufficient. You can turn in words. Take care of your own first. Nobody should have a problem with that perspective. But stop being stupid about it and stop being loud about it, because you just really you're not making yourself look good.
I don't know. My mindset is, um, if everybody decides that they want to get up and everybody has a voice and everybody feels like they need to teach, then okay, then I'm gonna sit back, because there's no sense in all of us trying to yell over each other. That's what I feel like now is in more of these spaces. Everybody now feels they're an expert on everything. And there's no humility basically anywhere for anybody to learn anything from anybody else. Everybody is their own king, their own god, and they know all. And so they can just make up shit as they see. I mean, there's literally a dude who walks around going all over the country to different Hebrew Israelites who calls himself Yah Jew, who claims to be the Messiah that everybody is supposed to be worshiping. And that you're supposed to just listen to what he says. Forget about whatever canon or books that you read, or whatever your belief system is. No, you're just supposed to listen to whatever Yah Jew tells you. And so we got too many Yah Jews out there, too many people. And I mean, from the Pan-Africans to the ABO to FBA to Democrats, Republicans, conservatives. I mean, everywhere. I feel like the online social media is just overwhelmed with a bunch of people who are geniuses in their own mind, and they believe everybody else should just bow and listen to them. And I so miss the days where people used to be like, you know what? I went to medical school. I know my shit as far as working on the body. Hey, I was a neuroscientist. I know how to fix your brain. But calculus, that thing, I'm gonna pass this to my homeboy over there because this is not my area. Hey, you know history? Cool. You the history guy, but when you come over here to economics and accounting, this is my area. And that's the thing. Those days of people being a specialist in the area that they know, or actually honing something. Now it's just because I have an opinion, I'm an expert, and if I can get enough people to listen to me, then that validates who I am because now I have an audience.
But going back to Trump, again, due to the fact that the appeal process is going to take several months, this will take us past the election. If he becomes president, he clearly, if he becomes president, he should make these legal problems for himself go away if he can. I know I would if that was me. Marcus, you would be stupid if it was you who had the power and you didn't do it. You know what I mean? Yeah, if you would you should take advantage of that if you could. You know what I mean? I would. And if you didn't, you're a little silly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just an interesting clown world. I think that I don't know. Let's go on ahead and run through something right now. Speaking on Trump, because I had to sit here and really think about it. And granted, I do know that Biden is completely hurting himself every single day as far as his electoral chances. It's talking in a hypothetical that this is going by the votes being counted properly to the best of their ability with as little shenanigans as possible. It comes down to basically 3 or 4 states.
Yeah, so those are the states that you would really be paying attention to.
So I feel like those states would probably be, well, Florida I feel like is a lock that's red.
Yeah, there's even with the amount of people who have moved here from New York and the more, quote unquote liberal states, there's not enough of them to turn the state in for Biden.
I would even argue that the ones that have moved there, if anything, you've had more people who would lean red who have moved there. Like what happened, a lot of like they're talking about how the Californians are moving to Texas. a lot of the Californians who are moving to Texas, there's a big chunk who are moving to Texas because it's red. And that's a big part of it. Now, some are moving there because of more and more corporations are moving to Texas because California is falling apart at the seams. But I think that you have enough of an influx of red voters with the blue voters that I think it's kind of keeping it kind of a moot point, any of those blue voters who are moving to these places. What up, Warren?
So we have Michigan. So is Michigan one of the states?
Most definitely.
Pennsylvania?
Michigan, Pennsylvania. Yep. What's the third one? Let's see if we're seeing eye to die.
Wisconsin?
I think Wisconsin's going to be solidly red. I would say Ohio is typically one, but I think Ohio's going to stay red. I would say Minnesota. That's the other one that I would keep an eye on.
Okay.
And Minnesota's typically been blue, but I could see a possibility by some of the losses that Biden's lost as far as how Minnesota looks, that could be a state that could be costly for him.
Okay.
And then you factor in all of these states are not winner take all. So it does make a difference on what percentages he wins these states by. I think with Wisconsin is a winner take all, and I think it's red. I think it's going red. I think Ohio's going to go red. I think Georgia will go red again. Florida will be red. Michigan is going to stay blue, but because for the big chunk of the voters that Biden is going to lose, they're not going to go to Trump. I think you're going to just stay home, or vote for a third party candidate, whether that's Jill Stein, RFK,
it won't be
Cornel
RFK.
West.
It won't be RFK.
Oh, that's right. He won't be on the ballot. So
no, I'm saying even if he was, it wouldn't be RFK because
True.
The demographics in Michigan.
So basically, it's going to be. Well, I don't know if Cornell's on the ballot. He might be a write-in, but basically, it's just going to go to Jill Stein
if they bother to participate at all.
Yeah, if they vote, because I know that they're not voting for this. They definitely wouldn't switch over to Trump because for this very reason that they're not going to vote for Biden is the very reason that they wouldn't vote for RFK or Trump either. So that's
the difference. If Donald Trump was in office currently, his advice to Israel would have been, just bomb the shit out of them like 2-3 times, get it over with, and then rake up what's left and then build what you want. He would have said, do it big and get it over with. But this way, you slow walk them. You slow walk these people to like torture. It's worse.
I think that, but I don't think that he would really push them too hard. He would be kind of, I'm giving my advice on what they should do, but hey, they don't listen to me. But I still think if they decided to carry it out the way that they're carrying it out, he would just, I just don't think that he would be playing the games of, well, we feel so bad about what's happened with civilians. He would just basically tout whatever line that they tout, almost like. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying him. I'm saying that his press secretaries and his cabinet would be almost like in one accord with everything that's coming out of Israel.
You could almost hear him saying like, Hamas is the bad guy, okay? Or some stupid like that.
Yeah, him blaming them, saying, hey, the human shields, and so it's their fault, and so Hamas is making Israel kill all these civilians. That's what I would predict for him to say. So, I mean, as far as the Israel-Palestine situation, for anybody that is an issue to them, I think that Trump would only be more bellicose.
So for the people who like to get caught up in the election, again, based off what we said, what is the difference between the Donald Trump administration and the Joe Biden administration as it relates to American foreign policy? None.
The
Just
only thing,
the level
there's
of
only
aggression and
a
rhetoric.
level of aggression and rhetoric, and slight changes as far as the immigration issue. That's the only change I could say I would see.
Mhm.
Slightly
Yeah.
different on the immigration issue, and rougher rhetoric.
Mm-hmm. But essentially, the laws that get passed are all the same. What up, streets? Exactly. You know what I mean? Streets know it too. I mean, most of the 99% of people in this chat or the people who are going to catch this program know that as well. So, you know, that's not anything new. It's just a reminder for them to probably ask or to say to somebody who's in their face or in their ear about, oh my God, you got to vote. It's the only way you can make change. You can't complain if you don't. You know, you can just ask them these things or repeat some of these things to them and then just tell them, like, you know, run along. I don't want to hear it no more.
I honestly think right now, I think it's a possibility that Trump in office would only accelerate what's already going on. That's the only difference. It's kind of like, are you taking the bullet to the stomach, or are you taking it straight to the heart? I mean, either way, you're not making it out of there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference I see. Sometimes I hear people like, oh, well, what about this? Is this better or is that better? You're asking me the difference of, do I want my right hand chopped off or my left hand chopped off? Neither one of those are great options. But for and I watched somebody earlier that they were saying, well, it wasn't earlier, it was something else, or this lady was saying, no, it wasn't lady, it was some dude, and I could tell by his accent, the way he talked. I was like, this dude is definitely from Florida. And he was talking about how Trump is going to win. Trump is going to win the Bronx, and that Trump's going to take New York.
New York City.
Yeah, because think about it. If Trump could take New York City, he would take the whole state.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other blue area outside of New York City would be what, Syracuse area.
Keep going, Marcus.
But
I doubt.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I'm saying he'd have a long way to go to win the city.
Well, what I'm saying is, for one, there's too many neoliberals. There's way too many neoliberals, and there's way too many. Even if they wouldn't consider themselves neoliberals, there's too many older black voters who are going to vote Democrat no matter what.
Yes.
There's way too many of those. And I wouldn't only say black voters, I would say minority voters just in general. And then you got a big chunk. Granted, what I saw in that Trump rally in the Bronx, most of the people of color that were there that were supporting Trump, many of them were immigrants. I mean, in that rally, Russell Dobler from Due Dissidence, what he did when he was walking around, majority of those people that were at that Trump rally who were not Caucasian were immigrants. And they were like, well, I stayed in my country of here for 10 years and I did it right. So this is my main issue, immigration. They need to do it right. They need to come here the right way. And so, and I saw that crowd seem mostly that immigration is their number one issue. So there's also a lot of people who would be on the other side of that token who care more about, who look at immigration as their number one issue for the reverse direction. They're looking for a faster path to citizenship. They're looking for more DACA stuff. They're looking for more things like that. So of the immigrant population, especially in the New York City area, that immigration is their number one issue.
Marcus, they got an
I'd say
influx.
more are on the Democratic side than that would be on the Republican side in New York.
Marcus, some people is flooding in from Staten Island and Long Island, and probably
Oh, I
some
know.
parts of Jersey.
Well,
That's-
and
that
a
part-
lot of them from the South too that were there. I mean, I can hear them talking. I'm like, this person is definitely from the South. This person's from Georgia. This person's from North Carolina. I can hear the different accents. And then when they showed the crowd panned out, I mean, I was thinking, man, Trump, you should have had that in some kind of auditorium. That way you could say, well, see, we only got this many people because we can only fit this many people into the building. But when you leave it in a park like that, where you could have had a whole lot more people, when you panned out and saw the crowd, it's like, that's not really that great of a turnout. It's not a super huge turnout for New York. And we're talking about a city of what, like 8 million people, and you mustered like 2,500. That's not impressive.
And the Kushner family is quite close to the other guy.
Warren. Yeah, Warren says no way he can win NYC. That place is shit lib hell now. Exactly. It's the same way. Hearing somebody say, well, Trump could win New York is the same equivalent of saying Trump could win California. Not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Street said true story. Immigrants look at me like white people do. I just feel like y'all going to learn.
Yep.
There are some of them who do that for sure. You know what I mean? We've talked about them here.
All right, Oz.
The Nigerian, all right, Oz. The Nigerians, some of these Jamaicans,
Especially the Nigerians.
Haitians, but the Nigerians are probably top of that list who would look at you like, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
Black American, yeah.
They look at Steven and they're like, see, you need to learn from him. This is a wise man. This is a wise man. Jesse Lee Peters is probably they jam. I know a Nigerian that said, no, our people, they have never had anything until they came in contact with white people. He literally, not like, oh, here, he talking about even in Africa, there was no civilizations of any merit until the white man came. And I started naming off empires. I was like, what about the Axum? What about the Song guy? What about Ghana? What about the Mali Empire? And I started just naming off different empires. And he's like, nope. That was nothing. It was nothing. It was garbage. I was like, what about Ethiopia? What about this? What about that? He's like, no, they weren't. Nope, we didn't have anything till the white man came. I was like, what about Egypt? Nope. That was mostly white people anyway. And then at that point, and if I would have had this conversation online, I would have not believed it. But I had this conversation in real life with a real person, so I know he believes this 1,000%. Yes, the level of going in is so high. It's so high. What about Shaka Zulu? Come on, man. I just listen to them. I'm like, y'all, what about Timbuktu? Come on. Timbuktu literally had the most extensive library in the world.
Mm-hmm.
In the world. I mean, I'm like, are you not understanding how many Greek leaders used to go to Africa to be taught philosophy through Egypt and through the different Nile civilizations? I mean, his whole understanding of Africa is post-colonization. That's it. Post-colonization. It's like there was no history before before what, like the 1700s. Well, actually, you can go back to say 1400s because that's when the Portuguese first went into West Africa as far as on the colonization tip.
So basically, from the 13th century, right?
I'm like, are you forgetting that the Moors came out of Africa, went to Europe, and conquered most of Europe and held most of it for a good amount of time? Now they did start getting beat back and lost power in Russia and Turkey, and eventually started kind of folding back to only the recesses of what would be like the Great Britain area, Scotland, Portugal, and Spain. But at one point in time, the Moors were all over that thing. They were everywhere, influencing the cultures of Europe. I mean, they had like literally plumbing and all kind of stuff in Africa when like they had little rocks for buildings in Europe. And I was just like mind boggled that like you came from a place that has such a rich history and you literally just pull down your pants and take a crap on it because of your love to be subservient to the white man. Mind-boggling to me.
And then to be repping hard for the United States of America. Like, this is my country.
Which don't like your immigrant ass anyway.
They be like, oh, my people built it. Okay, yes, that is fact. You build some of it, right? Cool. You didn't do that willingly. They didn't mean for you to benefit. You're not going to benefit. So why are you still screaming this home when you just a visitor?
Yeah, I hear you completely. Shout out to Turin over there. Gregory Walker in the building. Sorry, just got over to this side. Says, oh, that's so crazy. I guess that goes back to that comment when I was talking about, do you want your right hand or left hand taken off as far as like political choices? And
somebody
Turin said, my typical ass is, do you want syphilis or gonorrhea?
Oh,
then watch the sheep normie idiot do mental somersaults to figure out which is worse instead of a simple answer. Neither. Preach, Turin. And then Gregory Walker's in the building. Turin says most of Europe, the Moors were stopped dead in their tracks in France and Hungary. That's not even half. Wrong. I can show you proof. They went a lot further than you think. I can show you proof.
Yeah, so that sorry to take us
no.
So
far, are you good?
Far off course, but just geographically it made me laugh.
Well, Wesley says confusion with descendants of Africans that adopted the white man's religion. Well, which one is the white man's religion? Because if you're saying Christianity ain't the white man's religion. It's co-opted and taken over. The Bible and all that stuff takes place in what would be so-called the Middle East, so the joining of Africa and Asia. That's not the white man's religion. That was the Romans taking a religion and playing games with it to make it work for their own theologies. But even that, I mean, the first Bible comes from Hippo Carthage in Africa. The oldest compiled Bible comes out of Ethiopia. And they had that beliefs before the white man got there. Now Mormons, though, that's the white religion right there. They made that shit up. they completely made that shit up. They even got magic underwear up in there.
Yeah, their mythos is entertaining just because of how comic bookish it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thomas. Yeah. wasn't Christianity in North Africa and down the Nile before it came to Europe? Most definitely. That's what people don't realize as much. When that belief system even got into the Romans, which eventually became the Catholic Church, that was after Constantine and his people had started going into that area.
Yes, Wesley, I agree with that last statement. Yes.
I agree. It definitely been co-opted. But I mean, I remember when I first read the Bible, like completely the whole thing, I was like, there ain't no way these motherfuckers read this whole book. They definitely don't use the whole book. They use it like old boy from Book of Eli. Remember old boy, and he wanted the book so he can use it to control people. He didn't want the book because he believed in it. He didn't want the book because he's like, I want this connection with the higher power. No, he wanted to use it as a weapon, pure and simple. And that's exactly how the Bible is being used since it got into Europe, as a weapon and a weapon only. Thus why I get why Native Americans want no part of it, because it was used on them probably the worst.
Yes. Yo, Thomas, you got to get that one.
Oh, the Mormons built the great mounds all over North America. Many of them told me this. Oh, really? They told you that? Yeah. And they're the real lost. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I say it's hilarious. Mormonism, their belief system is funny. I mean, all of them are funny to a certain extent, but that one to me is a little more comical than the rest. And going from that to, I want to, your man Diddy, what's going on with him now, dog?
Yo, your man Diddy is like, all kind of stuff is coming out of the woodwork. All kind of stuff is coming out of the woodwork. There's been at least, I've heard, anywhere from like 5 to 10 more people coming out with cases against him. A couple of models saying that he drugged them. There's his supposed mule has come out now on trial. I mean, not on trial, but has cooperated, saying that he was he's the drug distributor and like guns runner for them. They still haven't quantified to what degree, but now apparently a whole bunch of male prostitutes are now coming through with more stories too. I don't know, man. It's getting weird. Like everybody, and then I forgot. Let me put this part out real quick. From what I'm hearing now, Kim Porter kind of had like some kind of secret stash of information that she basically dropped in the lap of Cassie. Cassie now is executing this plan that was laid out by Kim Porter in the first place, that she was using basically to try to get out from under things. So if I don't know for a fact, so I'm saying if, don't hit me on the head if this comes out to be bunk later, but that she had evidence of Diddy being involved with bodies dropping too. That can get sticky, including up to, and they're saying that now they might have tracked down the evidence of the money that Keefe D was talking about, the $1 million that was talked about for them dropping Tupac. So
if there's any homicides or murders attached to his name, then clearly, they'll get him up on that. That's a whole separate, type of crime right there, right? I think, to save face, he should just come out as gay. He should say he's
you still on that.
I'm telling you, He should come out as the part of the LGBTQIA plus community and just say he's going through mental things as a result of not being able to live his full life out loud, and it's led to him being living a tortured life. He'll that's the best thing for him. The best thing. He'll still get in trouble. It's not going to save
I
him.
don't know. It
But-
might be a little too late for that.
Hey, you never
See,
know, dog.
If he would have jumped on that bandwagon when it was just like the weird sexual stuff, you know, the cuck stuff, and if it would have just been that and the rumors about him with Ja Rule and Kevin Hart and all kinds of people, if it would have just been that, maybe. But once you see him putting foot to ass to Cassie, and that changed things up. Because see, if he would have got with him then, they would have been like, he's in our camp, and you don't know what was exactly going on, and they might have mounted some defense for him. But he waited too long to get him on his side.
Yeah, he did. He did. Too bad, Puff.
See, if he would have got the LGBT on his side ahead of time, then they would have kind of rallied the troops for him a little bit. Oh, yeah, Streets. Yeah, man.
It was
that's what he was doing with the freak offs.
It was in the complaint that Cassie had filed at the end of last year. She said that he would have her go online, contact male escorts in whatever city they were in, and have them come through, and they would get busy with Cassie, and he would just sit in the corner and enjoy himself.
And almost like coach him, like a director.
Yeah, he would be telling. Yeah, he would be directing the guy on how he wanted him to, take down Cassie.
Yeah. Love to see the man. The Boondocks need to come back with just for that one episode, Gangstalicious Part 2. And for those who don't know, the Boondocks was trying to tell y'all years ago about him. It was pretty clear because Diddy was also messing with Superhead, and Superhead was having this tell-all book that was coming out. And Superhead, in the Boondocks, there's this woman who's a video vixen who she has a tell-all book, and she's telling about Gangstalicious. In Superhead's book, she talks about Diddy. So, and then Gangstalicious was all big on the fashion, and come on, man, it was just too many similarities, way too many. Even the way like the button-down shirts with the hat to the side a little bit.
Yeah,
it was so Diddy's like what, early 2000 style.
Yeah.
And then he was the first one to have like the biggest like clothing line of any of the like people in the music industry with Sean John. Now everybody came out with something later, but he was kind of like the first big one.
No, I mean, his Sean John did very well. I mean, a lot of people had gear before then too, but Sean John kind of, went to a higher level.
Well, I mean, Sean John came out before Rockaware. Sean John came out before.
But you had Fat Farm, but we had Fat Farm first.
But Fat Farm wasn't what artist was behind Fat Farm?
That's Russ. Russell Simmons.
That's true.
That's Russ, man.
That's true. Apple Bottom was Kimura though.
No, that Baby Fat is Kimura.
Baby Fat, that's what it is.
Yeah, Baby Fat.
Fubu wasn't.
Yeah, Fubu was around before Sean John.
Yeah, but I'm saying from a musician, from somebody in the hip hop game.
Okay.
He was just like, he was just from the black community. He wasn't in the music thing too.
Carl Kanai was dressing these guys too.
Yeah, but Carl Kanai, he wasn't a rapper.
Yeah, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
and Rockaware came after. So yeah, you could say, okay, you could definitely say Russell definitely had Fat Farm first.
Oh yeah.
But also Russell was more just a producer. He didn't rap.
No, he didn't.
So it narrows it down even more. That this person has because Diddy rapped too. He wasn't just a producer. So I'm like, for me, I mean, I don't know. I think it pretty strongly indicated to Diddy, and plus at that time there were all kind of rumors about Diddy doing stuff. It was all kind of rumors back then.
The other thing that the Diddy case should highlight is that when the feds want to actually do their job and they want to investigate, they have evidence and they're pouring through the evidence and they're able then to make a case against you, they can do so. Remember, this same organization has yet to even talk to anybody involved with anything Epstein related in all of those raids that they did. You know how much data they must have from all of those residences. Even, let's just say that Epstein and company took the most sensitive of data from the locations. Fine. Everything else that's left behind is still going to be juicy as hell, right? It's still going to be cringeworthy as hell. It's still going to be, you're still going to be able to use it in a court case. And we haven't seen anything. So,
well, something also I kind of want more clarification on is when they talk about trafficking. Like, I feel like now in the probably last maybe 5-10 years, the definition of what trafficking has been is kind of like gotten very, very vague. Yes. Before trafficking, it was pretty clear. Trafficking was like, yo, like y'all saw the movie Taken, right?
Somebody take you boom, from snatch you.
Yeah, and now you out. Now we put you into this international prostitution ring. That's what trafficking was. Now it's, well, he had this girl and they drove across state lines and they were drunk, and now that's trafficking. And so I'm like, okay, can we get a clarification on what exactly was happening when we're calling him trafficking? Because the trafficking that I'm hearing about is not to the same degree as Epstein. Epstein was like taking girls from the UK, and now their new life is on some unknown island where they can't get away. That's way different than you getting getting drugged up. I'm not saying that that's good. I'm not at all. I'm not saying that's not horrible.
One seems to be,
but I'm saying it's a little bit different. I mean, when you hear about the young girls and they get put into these trucker rings and they get put at this truck stop, and they got a pimp over them who's keeping them out there and restricting their movement. They can't go back home. Are we talking about this is what's going on? Are we talking about somebody being violated and now that's trafficking? Because I mean, it like punching somebody in the face who's innocent is bad, but stomping them out is a different kind of bad. That's what I'm trying to that's what I'm trying to clarify here and understand.
But the trafficking, the way they use it today, it always seems as if when you read the details of the story that a decision was made. Someone voluntary went somewhere. They weren't forced. They weren't picked up. It was a lot. Quite honestly, they received financial compensation, whether it's a male or female. So let's just say you're in Vegas and you want company for the weekend, and you can't find anything in Vegas, but the person you've been talking to in Cali is available, and you pay for a quick flight, or they drive over, and you go from there somewhere else. They would call that trafficking, and I just don't know that I would consider that trafficking, considering that you made a choice to be somewhere to do some freaky shit. You wasn't brought there to like go to the movies and go bowling and then to go home.
or even if it was a case of you guys were hanging out and then it turned into some stuff that you weren't planning on doing or that you felt forced into. Just like how we've been hearing about, like, I'm trying to remember what was that one comedian and an Indian guy who he hooked up with this girl, he thought everything was consensual, and then comes out the next day and now she was like, whoa, that I felt forced. And they're like, did you fight? Well, no. Did you tell him? Well, no, but I felt I was forced to do it. Do you know what I'm talking about? I can't remember his name, but
yeah, I don't remember his name either, but I think it was I think they were messing around, Aziz Ansari,
yes.
maybe.
Yeah.
But I think the story was like they started to do something. She said she felt uncomfortable. He stopped, and then she went.
Yes,
and
yeah. They I don't even think they went all the way through with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I keep using Puffy because in my era, that's how we got introduced.
He said you pushing the name Puffy. Like, I mean, I always thought it was a weird name anyway. I was like, Puffy was better than calling him Puff Daddy. I don't want to call no other man Daddy. That shit sound weird.
Yeah, that's why we just say Puff.
I didn't even call my own father Daddy. So, I mean, that just sounds weird to me anyway.
Yeah, once you pass like 3 years old, 4 years old.
Well, see, mine wasn't around like that, so it was like,
okay,
Cornelius, okay. You gonna tell me to do what, Cornelius? Nah, just playing. Mm-hmm. But that I mean, so for me, I always thought that was weird. And now to add on top of it, hip hop's ultimate troll is at it, and I'm loving it. I'm here for every moment of this. Did you hear 50 has just he has just gotten together and partnered up with Cassie to release a Netflix document on surviving Diddy.
Well, I didn't know that Cassie had anything to do with that, but they announced, what was it, maybe 2 weeks ago now, that there was a bidding war for 50's documentary on Diddy, and Netflix won the bidding war, won the rights to it. And I guess 2 other companies put out their own version of it, but the 50 Cent one didn't come out yet. So, clearly whenever that project comes out, it's going to do numbers. It's going to put money in, 50's pocket. So, good for him, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel the same way. What's up, Denver? I see Denver's on the Rock fan side. Yeah, I just hope,
what's up, man?
I hope this don't come to bite 50. I hope this don't come to bite him in the ass, because 50 been out here trolling people for a minute. I know of course we know, how a lot of people even found out about 50 was when he was going after Ja Rule. Remember Get Rich or Die Trying, Wankster, he was talking about Ja Rule back then.
50's first introduction to the world was Rob.
I'm not saying I'm not saying his first song, but I'm saying even on his first like big album where mostly everybody outside the typical hip hop audience learned about him, he was talking about Ja already back then. He was already shitting on him even then.
On Back Down, he was talking about him.
Back Down is where he like really went after him. In fact, I was listening to that early today.
Yeah, never poke nothing, never pop nothing. Stop fronting. Yeah,
sing for hoes and sound like the Cookie Monster.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh no, they better not mess with Jeffrey." My man, Jeffrey Adkins, holla. Like delicious. Do they know me? I am what was it? I'm a 10th degree pink belt. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was like, Yeah, he went after that dude, murdered him. But he went after him. I remember him going after Akon. He then I know then of course he's had this ongoing feud with Diddy for I don't even know how long now. So I'm just wondering who else is next? Who else is next? Which domino to fall?
I mean, damn. I mean, the ultimate domino already fell, right? The United States government is clearly controlled by people who think it's a good idea to send letters to the foreign prime minister and told him, hey, you can do something that the United States president does once a year. Come and address a joint session of Congress, which is what the bipartisan body did just the other day. Did you see it, Marcus?
Mm-hmm. Oh well, before we switch on that, I wanted to, Nina said we all talk about Pac and Biggie, yeah, and I mean, it's even coming to light that he might even there might be some stuff that can tie him to those too. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting couple of months for Diddy, but yeah, you were saying that who's getting this letter to come and speak?
Oh, the House and the Senate sent a letter to Netanyahu for him to come and address a joint session of Congress.
Is he? Because I thought that they were pissed off at him and they told him he couldn't come not that long ago.
No, they just sent this letter the other day. If not yesterday, then the day before. And again, it just shows who's in control, who runs this shit. And speaking of the election, the Mexican president, she's Jewish. She's about to be president.
Or you just kind of just throw. I was going to kind of build it up a little bit more, but
yeah, the president in Panama, Jewish. Somebody else is a Jewish. There's like 4 or 5 Jewish presidents right now.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Yonina says Diddy killed Biggie and Jay-Z killed Pac. No.
I would say possibly Diddy is tied to both of them. Now, do I think Jay-Z probably didn't sweat it happening and probably wasn't too broken up over it happening? I can see that. But I don't think that there's a lot. And if Jay-Z did have something to do with either one of those, Jay-Z is a lot smarter than Diddy is. And I think he covers his tracks a whole lot better than Diddy. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, just like I said before, there were people out there who had vendettas against Diddy. I mean, against Tupac and Suge Knight and many members of Death Row. And I'm talking about within LA alone. Mm-hmm. It would be too hard. I mean, I heard that the number was 1 million that was put out on Tupac's head because apparently they also wanted to get this chain and the dude that got stomped out. And you guys can do your research and look into all that. But he supposedly put out 1 million for this hit to happen. 2 people who Keefe D, it was like his nephew was the one that got stomped out there, by Pac and all them. So it makes sense that they will want retaliation. And if you're going to pay them to retaliate against somebody they already got a beef with, kind of adds up to me. I don't see how Jay-Z could have influenced that any extra. And especially at that time, he wasn't really tied in with the West Coast like that.
You know what's weird is that every time something comes out about rappers, everybody starts throwing Jay-Z's name in the mix. And if the worst thing you could say about Jay-Z is that he has a child or 2 who he doesn't acknowledge he doesn't claim, there's several men who have done that, and it's been done before, it's happening now, it'll be done again. I'm not saying it's the best thing or right thing to do, but 1, it's not something to cancel somebody over, number 1. Number two, it's not even really our business if that it really is the case. As long as none of it is our business, but we tend to make this shit our business. But I don't know what angle they have on Jay-Z to,
the only one I've heard
I
that
have several criticisms myself, but I think it's less on.
There's only one I would say that there's actual some smoke to it that you can at least see. You can at least see motive would be the Aaliyah, of the Aaliyah situation. That's the only one where you can even see motive. But I would still have a hard time. Like, how do you connect that and prove that definitively? And I've heard people talk about how petty Jay is. Now, I would think if you want to say he's involved in any kind of stuff, it wasn't in that time period. The stuff with him would have come later, probably in the past 20 years or so. I don't think it would have been anything back to that period. I mean, maybe after he had completely, and I'm talking about after Aaliyah's death and all. I mean, maybe not even 20 years ago, maybe the last 15 years or so when he reached like superstardom level. That's maybe when you can say that the influence or something he could be tied into stuff. But I don't think that they were like, even when I used to hear all these different rumors in the hood, I was like, they're not coming after every single rapper, whatever. It's when you get to certain levels, that's when these powers that be will come and start feeling like, okay, now we can use this person as a tool. But you kind of got to prove yourself on your own in a sense before they start feeling like they can use you. That would be just my assessment on. What do you think, Chris?
No, I agree on that one. I can't, not much for me, not much there for me to disagree with on that particular note. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think
since we went ahead, I was gonna say, since we went ahead and mentioned it,
mm-hmm.
Let's just go ahead and
later, you will have a much greater impact. That is because it takes time to hire.
Meantime, across the border tonight, their own political showdown. Mexico's presidential election is this Sunday, and for the first time ever, two women are leading the way in the race. CBS 8's Jenny Day joins us now with more.
Now, even though it's not our turn at the ballot box, the election happening right next door.
Why it look like she got an IDF uniform on?
With our trusted contact at the Tijuana Press.
People that is hoping for a change and people that want to maintain the status quo that we are seeing during the last 6 years.
The next president of Mexico likely to be a woman for the first time ever. Claudia Sheinbaum is the country's frontrunner. The other top contender is Xochitl Galvez. Jorge Alvarez Maínez is trailing in third.
We have seen that the women have been making progress, and you can find now, for example, the head of the electoral authority, it's a woman. The head of the Supreme Court, it's a woman right now.
Sheinbaum, the Morena official party candidate, is a climate expert who entered politics in 2000 after the current president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, hired her to decrease pollution. She remains in line with his policies and went on to be the first female mayor of Mexico City and is hoping to make history again.
That doesn't necessarily guarantee a better administration and less corruption. And so people is excited about the possibility.
Xochitl Galvez is considered more conservative, a tech entrepreneur representing several opposition parties. She's proposed partnering with the United States to form a binational police force to fight crime and money laundering.
And it's only when the U.S. is pressuring Mexico when they are producing results, like with the extradition of drug lords, which are very much responsible for the production of fentanyl.
For Mexicans, the economy and public safety are the top priorities.
Extortion is a big problem that has increased, that we haven't seen in this level for many years. This will be one of the worst.
You said extortion ain't even that bad, bro.
administration or presidential periods in the number of homicides. We are over 170,000 killings since the beginning of this administration.
For Americans, though, drugs and immigration are among the top priorities for Mexico to tackle. The Biden administration is expected to take executive action on the border as early as Tuesday. It would reportedly limit migrants' ability to seek asylum at the southern border with Mexico. Both women have said they understand the importance of cross-border relations and will work with whoever is elected here in November.
As for the plans for the current president on his way out, I'm told AMLO will retreat to his ranch in southern Mexico. Many say he'll be remembered for doubling the minimum wage and empowering the military. Reporting in studio, Jenny Day, CBS 8.
I am here to tell you today that your feelings are valid. Your trauma is valid. Your hurt is your hurt. I discovered.
I'm still trying to figure out why it looked like she wearing an IDF uniform.
It did look like an IDF uniform. If we keeping it a buck.
I mean. And somebody, who was that said where was it at? Streets said, didn't Biden mistakenly call Netanyahu the president of Mexico? Yes, he did. Maybe he was getting some facts about what's coming around the bend and slipped. I think that I think it's pretty likely that she might end up being the next president, because think about it. She was the first female to win become mayor of Mexico City. It sounded a whole lot like the Obama situation, just a little different. I don't know. It just sounds very sketchy.
Didn't Michelle's mother die? Did that really happen? Or
yeah, she just recently died at the age of 86.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. But you know, condolences to their family. I mean, even if we can't stand the people and feel like they're pieces of crap, I mean, I don't wish the death of their relatives on them. Maybe their deaths, but you know, that's a little different. Sorry, I'm being a little too honest there. Thomas said, if the right-wing lady wins, the drug war of Mexico will increase and police militarized by the U.S. corporate land grabs will be commonplace. She'll work with the CIA. Both of them will. Both of them will, and both of them are going to work with the CIA, period. Period. So, I mean, either way, they're going to play ball. I do wonder if she's a Zionist also, because that's the one thing I couldn't find any information about. And I bet she is. I mean, it just makes sense.
Marcus. Stop.
Of course she's not, right? She was for the protest and stuff.
Yeah.
She probably is not made one single complaint against Biden.
There's some things you don't even have to you don't have to wait for confirmation. That's one of them.
She's just waiting until she gets in the office, and then she's gonna let that freak flag fly.
That's what's up.
What up, Common Sense?
Introducing Ultimate Speed from Comcast Business. It's our fastest internet plans yet.
Switch to Comcast Business and get 500 megabit internet plus security, all for just $70 a month. Plus, ask how to get an $800 prepaid card. Call today.
Where's this ad coming from?
No say.
I don't even see it on the page. Anyway, Marcus, this is the other story we had in there. So it looks as if Haiti has a new leader, huh? Supposedly.
Yes. Supposedly, the council, who has made him the new leader. Okay, here, I guess I'll read. It says, UN Development. Turn my mic. UN Development Specialist Gary Conille, I think that's right, Conille, I can't remember exactly how to pronounce it, was named Haiti's new prime minister Tuesday evening, nearly a month after a coalition with the fractured transitional council sought to choose someone else for the position. The long-awaited move comes as gangs continue to terrorize the capital of Port-au-Prince, opening fire in once peaceful neighborhoods and using heavy machinery to demolish several police stations and prisons. Council member Luis Gerald Giles told the Associated Press that 6 out of 7 council members with voting power chose Conille earlier Tuesday. He said one member, Laurent Saint Cyr, was not in Haiti and therefore did not vote. Conille has been UNICEF's regional director for Latin America and the Caribbean since January 2023, and previously served as Haiti's prime minister from from October 2011 to May 2012 under the president Michel Martelly. He replaces Michel Patrick Bonsvert, who was named interim prime minister after Ariel Henry resigned via letter in late April. If you look back into this guy, this is a I'll read this before I say it. I'll read that last that paragraph there. Henry was on an official trip to Kenya when a coalition of powerful gangs launched coordinated attacks February 29th, seizing control of police stations, shooting at Haiti's main international airport, and storming the country's 2 biggest prisons, releasing more than 4,000 inmates. Woo. I can assure you, I know. Can somebody please subscribe also who is not subscribed yet so we can break out of that number? Hopefully we can get one more.
The thing about it is that's not something that they agreed to on the ground in Haiti. None of the
none
of the groups there, they're not going to recognize this either. So this is all like Western government machinations at play here. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Streets.
Wow. Oh, all right. Thanks, Streets. I appreciate it. But yeah, these are the moves of the Western governments to make it seem as if this person has legitimacy over the country of Haiti, which clearly he does not. The people on the streets right now, those gangs, if they have managed to organize themselves a little bit better, if they were better able to organize their leadership, not just their foot soldiers, that would also be a great thing. We haven't seen or heard anything from Barbecue or any spokesman on that behalf as it relates to this. As it relates to Conille, we're going to see. I think this ends badly. Kenya's already is going to be sending people there if they didn't already. The U.S. or the UN will commit people as well, and they just.
I mean, old boy was a UNICEF director. You know what time it is. You know how many pictures
you have to.
Do you know how many pictures this dude is smiling and giggling with the Clintons? Both of them. If y'all don't know what time it is, y'all don't know what's going on in Haiti. If y'all don't know what time it is, I know our audience knows, but for the people who don't know,
yeah, I'm genuinely curious about that because. You try to educate them and tell them certain things and they don't want to listen. Haiti is continued to, again, they're the poorest country on this side of the world. However, they have the most, it seems, for their size especially, you would have to say has the most outside interference of anywhere else in this hemisphere. If it's not, the French, it's the United States, it's the Dominicans, it's, a lot of people got their hands over there. So there must be something that's, what's the word?
Mundus Ultra came through.
Thanks.
Thanks, Warren.
Must have something that the powers want, since they keep going over there and messing with the people.
Well, did y'all remember when Bill Clinton apologized for what he did to Haiti? Most people don't know about that, huh? Well, what Bill Clinton did to Haiti while he was president was he facilitated this deal with Arkansas that Arkansas farmers would be able to take their excess rice and sell it for the dirt cheap and dump it in Haiti, completely destroying their rice market and harming the farmers there. So,
and then they went and got the deal to go buy rice from the Clintons.
Mm-hmm. And any Haitian that you would see that's chummy with the Clintons after they did that.
Yeah, they bougie.
And all of this was done around the same time. Well, I think this was done probably about maybe 10 years before the this was done about 10 years before the debt for Haiti was supposed to end, which, for people who don't know what I mean about the debt, is for them fighting their way out of slavery. France got the other Western powers to force Haiti to pay reparations for their freedom. And so that went through for decades, and it just ended I mean, what is it? Maybe 10 years, maybe 10 years ago it just ended.
And the U.S. acted as servicers to that debt and just collected it.
Yep. And so, I mean, no problem, Streets. I mean, it's so messed up what they've done to Haiti. And that's the reason why Haitians actually could probably ask for reparations from the United States and most of the European countries for their effect on what they've had, because they weren't the only ones who were involved in forcing this. I mean, it's basically like all the other nations is just like, we need to make sure that we handle this country. And a big part of it, and this is where the Haiti and Mexico ties in together. Some people might not know this history, which is sad since there's such a bitter kind of thing that goes on between citizens of Mexico, or Mexicans and Haitians. And it has to do a lot with organized crime, but that's a whole different story. But anyway, after Haiti fought for their independence and they got themselves out of slavery, one of the first things that they did was they helped Mexico get their independence from Spain. That was where the rest of the European nations we got to nip this shit in the bud. We can't have them going around to all these countries doing this. We can't have them next they're going to go to Jamaica. Next, they're going to go throughout the whole Caribbean. Next, they're going to start coming to America and doing this. And so they're like, all right, we got to dead this. And that's why they weighed them down in debt, so they could never become a superpower, or not even a superpower, to become just independent and build up their own economy and separate themselves. Also, let's say, for instance, they didn't even go to the extent of going and helping all these other areas. If they left open basically safe passage for anybody who was fleeing from these countries which still had slaveries and fled to Haiti, because that was a place that could have been as a refuge away from slavery, that could have hurt also. So they had to figure what is the best way to keep this country down, which is the biggest thorn in our side in the Western Hemisphere. And that's why Haiti has been kept underfoot for the most part. not to mention other natural resources and stuff which they found along the time of suppressing this said country. And you know that he works for.
No, that's good.
Amber Alert. Now, Amber Alert. What am I missing here about Amber Alerts? Marcus, they are not Black Americans. They don't get yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I can't deal with these people, the FBA people, because they haven't done enough studying on damn near any topic for me to consider them to take them serious. Most of them, so I can't take most of them serious on anything. Also, there's such a hypocritical nature to their own arguments. They'll get one, say, Dominican, and because this Dominican has a negative attitude towards Black people or Black Americans, then they put that negativity onto all Dominicans. And now they got to have this is why we don't mess with y'all. What do they call them? Tethers? Is that what they call them? Yeah, we don't mess with y'all tethers. Then this is this the Black and Brown Alliance? But within the Black community, there's plenty of FBA, so-called FBA people who can't stand y'all either, who actually hate y'all, who actually kill each other. Mm-hmm. But we're just going to turn a blind eye to the FBA who exhibit that same kind of behavior and focused on whichever people who are Jamaican or Panamanian or Brazilian or whoever who would be part of that African diaspora, just because they're just because the slave boat dropped them off in a different location.
Yeah,
it's the only real difference. Only real difference. You might get a little bit more seasoning from the people who are around and got a little bit of extra, a little extra slice of this, slice of that. That makes you slightly different, but most of the people throughout the African diaspora, whether you are African American, whether you're Afro British, whether you're from the Caribbean, whether you're Afro Latino, almost all still have something like 80 to 90% African DNA. For the most part. So it's silly to me when I hear these people make these claims and stuff. I mean, hell, but plenty of people within the diaspora sometimes have more African DNA than some of the people in those African countries who have never left.
They didn't.
So I don't know. It's kind of silly. At the political matrix, the lady that tried to take the children from Haiti after the earthquake is now over the Amber Alert system.
Is it Silsby? Is that her name? Silby or Silsby? Laura Silsby? Is that who you're talking about, Jonina? I think I can't remember if it's Silsby or Silby, whatever. I think that was a friend of the Clintons who got busted trying to get those kids out of Haiti.
Oh, and, yeah. I know what you're talking about now. I was like, what are y'all talking about?
Yeah, and they got her off. They got her off the hook because she should have been locked up for that. Yeah, she should definitely have been locked up for getting caught. But that's what happens when you have friends in these hot spaces, right? They're able to get you out of trouble like that, like on some real life movie shit. Not all the time is it art. I mean, life imitating art. Sometimes it's art imitating life.
Well, sometimes it's art putting a dramatic movie like flair on reality, because we're seeing more and more things like I'll probably save it for next week, because there's some stuff that I've been seeing with AI that I definitely want to talk about, but I'll just hold that for a moment. Get into it next week. I mean, through some of the Neuralink stuff, as far as like some of the things that they're doing, it's a lot of stuff that I would like to go into, but I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, that's fine. You know, so like I said, Marcus, now we're not to rush the rest of the year, but we got 5 months now until election.
Mm-hmm. Oh shoot!
This
Hold
is
on a
going to
sec.
be
Be right back. No,
yeah.
keep going.
This season's going to be so messy with everything going on. You know, from the immigration system here to the individual ballot amendments that are on in each state. I'm sure there's something about abortion in some states. You know, here we face the question of legalization of marijuana. You have the presidential election, obviously, in itself, the foreign policy moves of the United States. So this is going to be a very interesting season as we get closer and closer to the election. I want to say something drastic is going to happen, but all the drastic shit is already happening. We have a major money laundering operation going in with the money going into Ukraine. They've been doing this in our faces for, you know, well over a year now. We're all able to see this in real time and point it out and say, hey, I see what you're doing. We see that they are ethnically cleansing the area known as Gaza. We are watching them do it like goddamn. We're looking at the situation in the Congo. That gets worse. The situation in Congo is not good at all. You guys should take a look into that. That continues to get worse. Western money, again, has a role to play in this particular conflict. It is not just simply a matter of the different tribes not getting along or respecting each other or having just a typical war. There is money being given to outside groups to go into Congo and to destroy and kill people and to maim them in the worst possible ways. It may not be the United States. It could be England. It could be people who are close to the diamond trade. I don't know, but it's
I
really
would lay
bad.
that. I would lay the Congo. Yeah, United States is definitely involved in that. I would throw. This is the one time where, actually, no, it's the same old. It's the same culprit of people who are involved. The United States, Great Britain, and France, who are playing defense for a very, very smaller country, which is said to be just not really have any power and not really involved in anything, but somehow are getting all their diamonds from these various regions throughout Africa and getting basically walked in and protected. While it's kind of weird. It's the same parallel you see in the movies. You see this little skinny nerdy guy who is the president of some company who is able to bully people around who are 10 times more powerful than them that could snap their neck, in an instance, but are held under thumb by these smaller, weaker people. And I keep seeing this same scenario over and over. For those who've seen The Boys, it kind of remind me of that. Remember how you got that CEO who's over damn superheroes?
Mm-hmm.
This is the same kind of situation. You got a country which is supposed to be very small and very weak, but somehow is able to push these other countries push these countries around to do their bidding and protect them.
Don't you know it's because they send Sabra out in the field and Sabra's doing all their heavy lifting and all that work for them?
Sabra's flying everywhere, huh? Beating up the Hulk and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick. We talked about we talked about it. I don't know. We believe Shine Ball is more than likely definitely going to win. What do you think, Rick? Who do you think's going to win? But sorry for interrupting. Go ahead, Chris.
No, you go out. Shit.
I would say also, because you were talking about kind of the Ukraine situation. I honestly think that the U.S. actually, let me rephrase this. I don't even think it's really necessarily the U.S. I think it's people who have control over the direction of U.S. foreign policy who really believe the calculation that they can weaken Russia by sending all these different people to fight them. I think that they really believe this. Yeah, we definitely agree. Rick, and Atras, yeah, that's who we definitely call. And last I saw, she's 15 points up in the polls. So I think she'll definitely easily take that over. Now, what happens afterwards is that's when the rubber meets the road, and it'll get pretty interesting. Hey, Ruby,
we gonna see.
I really believe that because the people who make our foreign policy and our foreign policy seems to line up with the policy of a certain little tiny country. Those people who are making these decisions
I wonder who that could be.
Tend to lead with anger and emotion and grudges more than logic and common sense. And so therefore, there's no amount of money, no amount of other people that they can use to sacrifice to fight their battles. So it doesn't care if eventually Ukraine has to start sending 15-year-olds out there to keep the war effort going. They don't care.
And they
believe.
And and Marcus, they really don't care at all. They really will put 15, 14, 13-year-olds out there to just, catch, just to be bulletproof vests and, test
or as
subjects.
I used to call them. I used to call the Army jokingly bullet catchers. They're sending them out there to be literal bullet catchers.
That's what they are, and it's all good. It's very weird to see it. It's like they wanted to curb the population of the Ukrainians, clearly. And what was their other goal? Were they hoping that Russia invaded them and then extended themselves, got beat on the invasion, and then you're able to then take that and pivot to taking over Moscow? Was that what the thinking was there?
Well, you heard the new news now that they have officially given Ukraine the go-ahead to fire American weapons into Russia and attack Russia directly. And so just another escalation, no biggie. Going ahead. Let's just see what happens now. I mean, Russia is not going to run out of people. They can, and they're not even really. They're not. It's kind of like I don't know if you guys seen the Jackie Chan movie, Mr. Nice Guy. And if you watch the end of the movie, they're having this fight, and they keep switching gloves because he land a couple of shots, and he's like, "Ooh, okay, that hurt. Let's go up in gloves." Well, Russia's about to take those bigger gloves off and start putting on harder gloves, or start putting on brass knuckles. And when Russia start hitting for real,
are they just gonna have their people shoot up the ring? That's it, right? That's the type of time we on, because we ain't got time to keep playing with you. Because you keep playing in my face. I tried to be cool with you. I tried to talk some sense into you for years and years and years prior to this happening. You didn't give two shits. The people you were killing all sounded like me, spoke like me, felt like me, were living their lives, and they were begging me for help. I had to turn them away as you slaughtered them. Now we're here. Yeah, it's nasty work. It's really nasty work how, these countries practice sacrificing their own citizens.
Well, I really don't think Ukraine has the power to get out of this. I really don't. I think that there are, well, I don't think that they ever really did. I think that there were powers that be that have decided Russia's fate for them. And I think Zelensky is a part of that, because he a certain anger or hatred towards an enemy overrides common sense. Sometimes that happens with certain people. Some people will hate somebody so much that even though they know they can't win this battle and it's probably going to lead to their death, they're going to do it anyway. And I think that's Zelensky. And I ask any of my history buffs out there, look through Russia's history and tell me which group of people from Russia's history is still holding that level of a grudge and hatred towards Russia today. And if you can track down who those people are and where they're at now and their control, or I'll say, I won't even say control, I'll say their ability to influence situations, then I think that gets you somewhere. If you start paying attention, who has the biggest grudge against Russia and who has had the biggest grudge against Russia? Who has wanted to see Russia's downfall for the longest period of time, and who has never let that anger up, no matter what Russia's done? Oh, somebody's looking in the right directions when you start talking about czars and Romanovs. If you start looking there,
well, they were the victims, right?
That exactly. Atra's trying to get us in trouble. But no, it's not the U.S. USA is
a big sponsor.
Perfect example. Yo, this is what I would say. Remember whatchamacallit, remember the mountain from Game of Thrones. Anybody ever seen the mountain from Game of Thrones' wife? That dude is like, what was he, like 6'8", like 325, like solid muscle. His wife is like 5'1". Now imagine if his wife was out there picking fights for him to go and beat the shit out of people. That's kind of what's going on here. There is somebody who really has the grudge, who is getting the U.S., Great Britain, and all these other countries to fight their battles for them. I remember one comedian saying, "Women will get your ass in a fight." Well, there's a woman out here who is getting people into fights, and is getting away with an impunity because nobody can hit a woman. That's what I'll say, trying to be YouTube safe. There is a woman out there who is getting these big, strong men to go out there and go fight people and sit back in the background while everybody else is getting bloody lips and swollen eyes. So I'll say there, and you can look at it. If you look at Kamala, that's hilarious. If you look at who the United States has, who's been our enemies, how have we benefited from the enemies that we've been fighting? In fact, a lot of times you don't even see how we even tie to these enemies. But there is one other country who is every single one of these countries. They have a direct tie to these countries in some way, some shape. Either these are their neighbors who they're fighting against, or these were their neighbors and they're fighting against them. That woman invented hummus. Oh, I see my man Atras is always on point. Always on point. I mean, let me click over to the rock fan. Hopefully, it don't get me stuck. Oh, shoot. Boom. Anna is on point. Anna knows what's going on. Denver knows what's going on over here.
What Denver said.
can't. Oh, yo, this is what I'll do. That's right. I will take his and I'll put it in a private chat. What Denver had to say, because I can't put that in the. This is what Denver said.
Look, Ruby said, if you don't tell me, jump through that screen. Oh yeah, of course.
We need more clues. Okay. What names do a lot of people from Russia and Poland have or last names?
Thank you, Aina. It's easy.
I'm just saying, if you look throughout Biden's cabinet, you see a lot of people who descend from that part of the world.
It's not an individual.
Not an individual. Not one singular individual.
I think maybe some people were thinking about an individual. No, it's not an individual.
It's not an individual. In fact, if you look at
it's the same group that
Yonina?
It's the same group we've been discussing for quite a while. Yes.
If you look at where a lot of people who are part of the Biden government, they come from Russia, Ukraine, Poland, at the time when it was Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Yugoslavia. Those are the people who had a gripe against Russia and have continued to have a gripe against Russia, no matter which countries they go into from then on. Exactly. Common sense is like, he knows Zelensky. Come on. Y'all know what's going on. Exactly,
That's a good one, Yipper.
Exactly, Yipper. I mean, here, let me. Okay, then I you know what? I'll go on ahead and give it to you a little bit. I'll give it to you a little bit more clearly. Which countries has Netanyahu been obsessed with? The countries that Netanyahu from the 80s and 90s have been saying we should attack are the very countries which the United States, Great Britain, and France attacks. Literally. We have literally went after every single country that Netanyahu has been against. And people like, oh, Netanyahu's the great evil. Take Netanyahu out. Put in Naftali Bennett. Take him out. Put in Yoav Gallant. Take him out. I don't care who you put in. It's going to be the same list of enemies.
So
you just got to learn the history of what happened in these places and figure out why these groups of people have this anger and rage and mentality for vengeance against these particular nations.
Experience. I'm too experienced to be taken for a stroll. I'm too experienced for someone to rock and roll. Yeah, that's my shit too. But nah, that's what it is.
It's a little Trauma Queen. You're close, but it's a little bit more specific than that. It's a little bit more specific than that.
I mean, yeah, it starts with a
little bit more specific than that, especially if you understand. If you look back into Russian history, and if you understand Russian history back into I want to say, the late 1800s, and understand the history that was going on from the late 1800s, from then up until now, and you look at how that society was formed and what was and when you talk about the elites versus the working people, and look at the dynamics, and how people felt like they were wronged in that nation. And because they felt they were wronged in that nation, they held a grievance against that country.
There you go,
and
Ruby.
That grievance and that anger got passed down, because when I talk to any of the people from these groups who no longer live in Russia, it's almost unanimous a hatred for Russia. Almost unanimous.
You know, Russia had several pogroms going on in the 1800s.
1800s going into the early 1900s.
They had a lot of pogroms eliminating people of, you know, that particular group. So, you know, I mean, I can understand why they wouldn't like them either.
Yeah, and I'm not saying if their feeling is not justified or justified. I'm not even going into if they're valid for feeling this or not. I'm just saying this is a reason.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, for instance, if you talk to people who came out of Russia and went to a neighboring country who Russia fought with, even though there's a completely different government there now, things are completely different. Many of them still hold a heavy hostility to a nation which many of them came from after the 1940s. We'll say that. And though what happened in the 1940s wasn't like what happened in the early 1900s and late 1800s, there were degrees of some of that going on in that place. Now, and even it wasn't near to the level, but even just the negative attitudes that people had to people attached to a certain identity group, that even though many of the people there in Russia don't even have that feeling back, it doesn't stop the feeling that feeling and animosity is still there. And it's like, for some of these people, that feeling on the terms they left on back then is a mentality to them. It's still that same way right now. Exactly, Ruby. And when you start, I mean, I'm not going to go any further than that, because then people will start, starting to call me the names. But if you look at this, especially, see, a lot of times when you deal with people who they might descend from those areas and have ancestry from those areas, they're looking at it from an emotional angle. I have no emotional tie to, I didn't have no emotional tie to that. I never really have. I've just been a person who, throughout my life, have studied history, then eventually went to college to study it, also to teach it. And as I did more and more research, it was just perfectly clear to see 1 + 1 = 1 + 1 = 2. I mean, it wasn't like some kind of, oh, it's a complicated situation. No, it wasn't complicated at all.
How you know it's not 11 though?
I'm waiting, common sense. I mean, they're eventually going to be like, we got to get rid of them. We got to get rid of them.
Oh yeah, it's coming sooner than later. It's coming to everybody. Yo, what is this
yes,
thing?
Gripper. Yes, Gripper. I said Yipper. Yipper, I mean.
What was this thing I was seeing online before I came on about Alex Jones' channel being taken down? Did they shut him down about the feds or some shit?
Really?
Is that true?
I don't know. Well, Anna said, what about Tara Reid and other political refugees who live there now? They look at anybody who is a political refugee who goes to Russia now as you almost like siding with the enemy.
Yeah,
that's how they look at you. They look at you the same way how pro-Palestinian protesters are looked at as Hamas.
You're a traitor.
And you might be saying, no, I just feel like we shouldn't be harming these innocent people. And they're like, and it gets to the mentality of the Bill Maher's, where there's basically, he ripped the mask off one of the times and said basically, you know, Hamas, Palestine, it's the same thing. And I'm not saying all think that over there, but there is a huge majority of the people just look at Hamas Palestinian is interchangeable. They're virtually the same thing. So if you side with Russia, I'm pretty sure that some of those people are going to see a Tara Reid as exactly the same. Or anybody who would go over there or do business with that country. They're going to see you as the enemy also. You side with my enemy, you're my enemy.
That's how it always goes. You already know. Ruby, long time ago. Long. Probably.
Oh, yeah. I've read it.
Probably when I was, probably like a teenager.
See, yeah, you read it well before I did. I'm probably a lot later to you on it. I read it around 2019-ish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was
see, for me, it was a flood, Chris. It was a flood. I got like Neo level like upload of stuff like all instantly. And
yeah, no, because the thing is, when you're not fully aware of the situation and the power structure and how power works and who wields it and who doesn't and who likes to pretend as if they don't when they do, when it starts making sense to you and you start connecting the threads or connecting the dots, if you will, then you start on a path on down the rabbit hole, if you will. And then all of a sudden you for a second you get consumed by it, because it really is overwhelming when you just really realize, like, because you have to take a step back and you just look and you're just like, oh shit. Damn. Like, that's a lot of shit there. It's like looking at the names on the memorial where veterans have died from war, right? When you just take a step back and you look at all the names, you're like, then it's a significant amount of names. And when we begin to look at, you know, everything, and you're saying, well, damn, even in this particular area, I didn't expect to see this, but god damn, it's here again. And you don't even have to be looking for it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be looking for it, aiming for it. You don't have to have a hard on for the shit. You know what I'm saying? You could just be minding your business. La da da, la da da, like Ezell from Friday. You know what I'm saying? And it smack you in the back of the head.
What really woken up my eyes to it. Let's flip this, and I'm gonna use Native Americans in America for an example. There are probably about percentage wise, well, I'm not gonna say percentage, I'll say raw numbers, probably about maybe anywhere from 3 million to 5 million Native Americans in America that identify as majority, I'll say mostly Native American. There's a bunch of people where maybe that's 25, 5, 10, or whatever. But I'm saying people who identify that like 75% Native American or more. What if you looked around and you could not find a company in America or in the world that did not have at least one or two Native Americans at the top of the board of damn near every company, if not probably a good, 50 to 60% of companies? When you start thinking, what the hell is going on with these Native Americans? at some point, you'd have to start being like, okay. And then you find out, wait a minute. So you're telling me that Native Americans make up like 2% of the American population, yet Native Americans own like 60% of the sports teams in America, and Native Americans like own whole industries. Like they're the tops on all of these different industries and over banking and over this and over that. and the top political donors on both sides of the aisle. And you start looking, and no matter where you look, you start seeing Native Americans. You start being like, are they lying about the numbers of Native Americans, or are Native Americans a lot more powerful than I've been led to believe? And then the moment that somebody criticizes the Native American, you see an immense amount of councils all of a sudden shut you down instantly. When you see the level of power and how it moves for the Native Americans in particular, and these Native Americans have this much power, and you look up and, oh, well, this Native American is now going to be the new prime minister of China. And now there's one who's the prime minister of Pakistan now. Now there's another one of Budapest. And you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't even make any sense. At what point do you start being like, okay, maybe there might be something going on here? Well, you flip it to another group of people, and that's what I was able to see. And I'm able to see it with like direct lines.
Marcus, the other thing is, because there's a lot of people who do not buy into their agenda. They don't buy into any of it, but they end up working for it. They end up working towards that anyway. So the hustler, on some level, I can't be too upset about, because they're a hustler. They just trying to get what they can get through by any means necessary. The ones who are working for the hustlers, those are the ones that, we have to deal with. And it says a lot about them if they're so, look how easily compromisable these people are. So what is it they have on you? It can't just be, oh, you're cheating on your wife. It can't just be, oh, you're hiding money from your wife in an offshore account. It can't be that you're just hiding money from your husband, that you have another company that you're, it can't just be that. It has to be other things that are far more damaging, that could either cost you your life or a life in prison or a long time in prison. So these people who we see who sit in the halls of Congress, 99.9% of them are highly compromised in ways that would probably get them killed or in prison again. Those are the ones that we really need to start looking at. But to continue to look at. And
Rick, I would say he's probably just one of the assets used to control and gather evidence on these people. I guarantee you there's probably 200 of him out there doing the same thing all over the world in other countries.
I said this last week, I'll say it again. The feds raided 2 or 3 of Diddy's residences, one in LA, the one in Florida, and I think maybe a spot in New York. They raided Epstein's compounds in St. Thomas, in Palm Beach, in New Mexico, and in New York, I believe in France, and maybe in England. We haven't seen anything, dude. Those are a few. I just named maybe 3 countries I just named, and we haven't seen any evidence, not a video, no still pictures of anyone of any stature to come out of this. There's no cases being filed. There's no grand juries being convened. You had Ghislaine Maxwell. Who knows what she's doing, because we haven't had a mention or a sighting of her in a long time. But outside of that, you don't see nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the situations that really blew my mind. But when I started looking at still to this day,
sorry, Marcus, let me just jump back in. The fact that there isn't a further follow-up into anything Epstein related just goes to show you, that it involves a shit ton of that group. in one way or the other, whether you were actually abusing a kid or you set up or you facilitated the means for that abuse to take place. Either or, you know what I'm saying? Your hands are in that pot. So this is why we don't see it. They will protect themselves, but we see, look, oh shit, look, R. Kelly, we get a Gayle King video, you get documentaries, you get all these people to step up. Puff Daddy, same thing we seeing now. But that particular group, I don't know why.
Yep.
I mean, I know why. We see nothing about this. Nothing.
Well, and I'll even throw it into the faith community. You'll hear something about a Catholic priest and what they're doing. It'll be all over the news. But skip to another faith leader that the translation is teacher. Yeah, they just get a one-way trip to another country, and nobody hears anything about what was going on.
Yeah,
there was a story that came out in New York about babies getting herpes. No follow-up to why, what was happening. There's no charges being filed for this. No, well, we're just sweeping under the rug. It's no big deal. Let's not talk about it anymore. Let's not talk about what was going down in the boys' town. And yes, Ruby, I did talk about that. And that's what I'm saying. When you start looking into certain, like, here's another thing. This is one thing that always blew my mind. They talk about the Forbes list and the wealthiest people in the world. And people talk about how rich this person is, that person. Then they'll say, there are sultans over there, which now they're admitting that there are sultans, which are trillionaires, right? So trillionaires, that mean that they got way more money than virtually anybody just by themselves. So they don't have the power to push back against Western powers' will. And private banks, all these private banks throughout Europe, like the Bank of London, and we talk about the Federal Reserve, and we talk about all these different federal banks around the world, that they're not owned by these governments, they're owned by private families. But yeah, for some reason, these private families who have immense power over governments, we never even hear who the hell they are. They're never audited, nothing. We don't get to know really jack shit about them. In fact, the couple of countries, I mean, not countries, but companies which own like majority of things in America, being BlackRock, Vanguard. You know who the current CEO is, or the COO, but you don't know anything about the board of directors, the people who actually own the major stocks and who own most of this wealth in this country. That's the reason why when I look at some of these people and they really think, oh, well, I could get this politician in there and then that politician, they could change the system. Can't change a system that is a rigged system.
You can't change like playing. You don't own the system.
It's like playing 3-card Monty, but these are electric cards and they can just flip the card to being something different
at any time.
At any time. But there are people who really think they could tear this system down. I didn't see that common sense. People who think that they can fight, people that think that they could fight this system in that way, I look at them as the same as people who think that they could fight the U.S. military with their AR-15. I don't know, for those who've seen the Three Mics Neil Brennan comedy special, when he's talking about the NRA in the U.S. should just have this once a year trial, and it'll be like 100 like NRA guys, and they're all super confident, and you got one guy sitting behind the computer, and he's like, "Oh, what weapon are you using today?" I got a drone with Hellfire missiles, and it's like, "Are we starting right now?" Okay, I'm just gonna push this button here, and then all of them are evaporated. That's what you're fighting when you think that you can arm up and fight this government.
Or we got the drone with the, it's got dual 50 cal, 50 cal like Gatlings like on this drone. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, that serves the same purpose as an eraser, and it'll erase you.
I can fight the U.S. military with I might not win though. Yeah, you can't. And then I love it. Like I saw this comment earlier today. And this person was talking about, but in a perfect scenario, the actual troops, they can decide, you know what, the government is not just for what they're doing, and so we're going to turn against the government. No. That's what I know that you're not. I know you've never been in the military. If I hear you make that theory, if you have that theory at all, I know you've never been in the military, because the military is mostly full of people who only follow orders and who are not very political. Majority of them don't know. They really think president has all the power, and they believe, well, either they're Democrat or they're Republican. They might bitch and moan about who's in power, this and that, but that's as far as it goes for them. They are not about to do no extra courageous, I'm going to take this battalion and fight against this other one. Plus, the military is so compartmentalized. You would literally have a civil war within the military fighting itself. There's nobody about to do that, period. And then let's say you're that army division who decide you're going to break off and be different. Now you're fighting against the rest of the Army and the Marines and the Air Force and the Navy. Also, if you were going to, let's say you're going to get more, how are you going to organize this so-called coup when all the information that you go through is recorded? How would you even organize this without the CIA and the Department of Defense and Homeland Security knowing your every move?
Oh, speaking of which, again, like I said, I don't know what
yes, yes. Well, what Ruby says, yes, but you're saying they will kill their own families and friends because that's what would be doing. The thing is, they're not going to take me and send me to Kansas City for the possibility of running into my own family. That's not what they're going to do. The military knows where each troop comes from. And they're going to send you to places where more than likely you're not going to have that conflict, because there's enough troops for them to do that. They could take the National Guard and send the National Guard over here, and they could take Navy guys who are stationed at this base and send them to Washington. And they also, in the military, you're so in fear of not following orders, because here's the difference between being in the military and being in the civilian world. In that contract you sign, it says repeatedly over the hours long that it takes for you to sign this, can be punishable by death, can be punishable by death, can be punishable by death, can be over and over and over through your contract. It tells you that. And if it's considered a wartime situation, they can do what's called a field court martial, meaning your supervisor, your lieutenant, your sergeant, whoever's over you can, not your sergeant can relate you up the chain of command, but that chain of command can decide, your captain can say, you know what, I think you're in insubordination and I'm going to charge you with treason. Okay, put him out there, pow, 2 bullets to the back of the head, you're done. They have the ability to kill you on the spot. That's the one thing that's different from being in the military than being in a civilian job. Your boss can kill you in certain circumstances.
Marcus, do you see this? Okay, this is what I was looking for. Yep, I found it. Hold on. Did you see this shit? Because again, like I said, it's no matter what you stumble across, it involves a particular group.
Do the government still monitor MySpace? That's funny.
Did you see this?
Man, he always doing some new shit on there. It's hard to keep up with all the stuff he be changing.
Oh, here, let me blow it up a little bit. Do you see this? The founder of AU1 Auto, I don't know how you say it, AU10TTX, is somebody involved with the IDF's Unit 8200, which we know provides intel to the security state.
The Shin Bet is the far right, the most far right. Well, no, Shin Bet might be farther right than Likud, actually.
Mm-hmm. So now look, in order to be monetized on Twitter beginning July 1st, users will have to give Israeli intelligence company AU10TIX access to their government-issued ID and biometric data.
What the
fuck? This just came out. That's what I meant to ask you. So look, again, right here from X's Help Center itself, updated eligibility criteria. We're making changes to our creator subscriptions and ads revenue share programs to further promote authenticity, fight fraud on the platform. Starting today, all new creators must verify their ID to receive payouts. All existing creators must do so by July 1st, 2024. Okay? And again, here's what it's saying to you. That you'll verify by holding up your government ID, and you're consenting to allow X and that company of using images of your ID, your selfie, your biometric data to confirm, to confirm your identity for X-related safety and security purposes, including preventing impersonation. That Israeli company may store such data for up to 30 days.
Well, that's and Ruby says here, that is freaking crazy. Another way to know Musk is full of it. That's another way to know that this isn't just Musk. That's another way to know that Musk is completely DOD compromised and is doing the will of the DOD. I completely believe that Musk is completely propped up by the government. Completely.
So again, if you make money off of Twitter, if you will have to then give up this information. If you're just a regular user, like most of us, you probably don't have to willingly give up that information. But let's face it, there's backdoors to all of these apps. They pretty much know who all of us are one way or the other. It just depends on how much we kick the beehive before they'll show up at our doorstep. I'm seeing it happen to a couple white guys on the so-called right anyway. A couple of them have been a little bit critical of Israel. All of a sudden, Homeland Security in New Jersey is showing up to Twitter users' homes because of the things they say. This is the same thing we saw regarding COVID in places like Australia, in places like England. I don't know too much about France, but I definitely know that England and Australia did send their security forces to users of social media sites who were too critical, who maybe their profiles were a little too big and they were too critical of the policies of the government. They went ahead and sent security forces to these people's homes, right? To knock on their door, to question them, and in some cases arrest some of these people. With everything going on, not everyone, there's quite a few people who are waking up to the realization of who are the power wielders and who makes up the ruling class, right? There's a lot of people starting to put two and two together now. And it's such a coincidence that, TikTok is huge, Facebook is huge, but for whatever reason, Twitter is the one that seems to really matter to the ruling class. I don't know why Twitter matters so much, but it does. And during this time, it's just very funny that now we have like a month to go. Again, the election is approaching in 4 months here in the United States, right? I mean, granted, this is going to be a worldwide policy, but still, here in the United States, it's just funny that we're going through all of this stuff and we're having this little quote unquote awakening. And this is the place where we have to submit our information to.
Trauma Queen, currently, yes. But that won't be for long. And it's so much I want to say. But this
Again,
is
the problem. If you look at the problems that TikTok has been having, the only problem that TikTok really has is that they don't react the same way that the other social media companies react whenever that particular group tells them to do something.
Well, so the problem is they're allowing criticism. They're allowing a whole lot more criticism.
Yeah.
And not only criticism, even broadcasting a lot of the information, even if it's kind of censored, they're showing or they're leading people to be able to keep up with what's going on in ways where they don't want that going on. And also, they know that that's where the younger audience is. That they've already gotten most of the, and for those who are there listening, don't get in your feels on this. Calm down. I'm more than likely not talking about you. But they've already got the demographic over, say, 50. Majority of them locked where they want to be. Mm-hmm. Majority. It's not so much. I mean, it's kind of more a major chunk, maybe 50-50 of the 50 plus. Once you get to the 60 plus, we talking like 70% or more. Once you get over that 65, now we're talking about like 80-90%. They got pretty much captured and got them still staying on to the narratives that they want. Mm-hmm. They're trying to lock in more and more and more of that population, because what they're looking at is if the population stays on this trajectory and those older groups eventually, start passing on, they're looking at what is the future of these generations. They feel like they need to get to these people and implant the propaganda early so that they're not fighting back against this battle later on when they will be majority of the population, and they will be teaching their future generations that, and they kind of see the writing that's on the wall. I mean, if for instance, you constantly have friends who told you can stay with them. You go out of town, you stay with your buddy, and then your buddy gets tired of you and kicks you the hell out and never wants to talk to you again. You start trying to get ahead of what things that are going to lead to that process. And when you've been booted out 110 countries, you know what it looks like when what things led to people finally starting to look at you being the problem that you are being.
Mm-hmm. They have there's such detrimental things to say about everybody. I mean, just even again, Marcus, as Black Americans are, I mean, you are, I'm the tether, but whatever, but as Black folks,
I'm a part tether too, so.
Yeah, but your daddy was born here, so it's okay. Your people trace back, right? So anyway, okay, your mom's sorry. But even then, just even the way they talk about Black people in their own meetings is just kind of like, why would I look at you and see you as cool or want to stand up for you or want to like join your side on anything when you have clearly shown contempt for us? And then when I dig down into the music, when I dig down into the entertainment, when I dig down to a lot of shit that has to relate to me and our lives, I see that your only contribution to it is a negative one on purpose, meant to make people mentally, shrink their viewpoints and only see the world in a box that's only this fucking big. You tailor that. Marcus Tiny antenna.
Yipper,
right?
stupid.
That's a good one, Yipper. But
stupid.
You know, every time I look, they don't mean me well. They don't mean us well. You know what I mean? I just see that particular, they're a bunch of takers. They just really know how to take very well. You know what I'm
He's
saying?
got the FBA hairline. He good though.
I maybe, who knows?
Well,
It's
Yipper,
going
you
away.
didn't know? That's why I always wear this hat to hide it. I wear a hat so y'all never see it. That's what I'm hiding underneath. I'm really I'm really deep undercover. Well, you're gonna find out. Oh, see, I knew it. He's Ethiopian. He's one of the Falashas. He's been hiding the whole time. He's really IDF. Let me stop before somebody take that seriously. And next thing you know, they're making another video about me.
Yeah, you got to be careful these days. And that's the other part too. We're in a time where you can easily prove it. Say something reckless and let people know where you work. And see how quickly you will lose your job. Because we could all be out here saying, yo, you know what? F these Muslims. And we could say all kind of degenerate about them.
Bro, you could literally say when this whole Russia-Ukraine stuff was going on, you could literally applaud the deaths of Russians. They could get away with wishing death on people on all the social media platforms, all of them. Now, if you even criticize that little tiny country, that can be you are anti now.
Yes, and that will cost you your income. And
even future employment for a lot of these college kids.
That's where I was going next. Future employment as well. We see what they're doing with the students who are protesting on college campuses. You have these corporations who are saying, "Hey, you know what? Gather the data. We'll put them on a list, and we'll make sure that we do not gainfully employ these people." And someone say, "Is in charge of by who you cannot criticize." Correct. Yep. 1000% true.
Yep. Let's see. That's right. Well, yeah, that's I guess kind of circling around and kind of off topic. I wanted to say this because I remembered about the Congo. Y'all do some research on who on some of the big power players who have been funding different things in Congo and where these diamonds are going for in these mines. It's a reason why I used a particular thumbnail that I did. Though I want us to never lose track of what's going on in all of these different areas, I don't want also any of these situations that are popping up, whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden is fell down again, or whether it's the Diddy stuff, for y'all to lose track on all these major things that are going on, whether it's Congo, Burkina Faso, whether it's Palestine, whether it's something that's going on anywhere else in the world. Got to always keep abreast of this, because this is how the power players who really push the agendas of the rest of the world, they got their hands in a whole bunch of pies.
Trauma said it. Trauma identified she identified it.
Yep, that's their number one export. Where are they getting them from? It's another reason why so many African nations are kept destabilized. None of this stuff is happening in a vacuum or separated or isolated. All of this stuff is working in conjunction together. You ever notice that all the top enemies of the United States also don't have a federal bank? Wonder why.
Yeah, they don't. They don't
have a federal bank, and so they're not a part of the system. So, of course, they're demonized as the most evil places. Russia, Iran, Venezuela, Iraq, North Korea. I mean, Cuba. I mean, you can keep going down the list of countries which are out of that loop. And these countries continuously have nothing but problems, whether it's from getting sanctioned every 5 minutes to destabilization. And the same thing in many of these African countries. They don't have them either. It's just those African countries have been destabilized so much that they don't need to do the sanctions. They don't need to do the sanctions and things like they're doing. They can just, let's go roll 2 million to this warlord over here who's fine with getting his money, and he'll keep fighting and keeping strife going within this nation. And that's
and he'll just clear the way for us to go and extract all the resources we want.
Yep. And therein lies, I mean, think about how many movies back in the day we used to see, especially in the 90s. They had a whole lot of movies with like mercenaries in them. It's kind of the same situation in some of these countries. It's just you hire a militia. This is no different than what was going on, with the Iran-Contra stuff. This is no different that was going on with Manuel Noriega. This isn't. All of this it's the same plan, rent and repeat, over and over and over. Now, how could you have the same plan, rent and repeat, over and over and over if it's not the same person doing it? That's the reason why it works so good. That's the reason why it's so much more perfected each time, because it's the same person running the play. It's just like in basketball when Phil Jackson would run the triangle offense. Whether he did it in Chicago, whether he did it in LA, whether he did it, where was it? Where was he in Miami also? No matter where he did it.
In Miami. It was just LA. Miami. It was just LA and Chicago.
I'm sorry, I'm getting him mixed up with your boy Slickback.
Pat Riley.
Yeah, I'm getting him mixed up with Pat Riley for a second. But these same offenses that are run, it's the same playbook that these people are running. And the reason why is because it's worked this time. Let's go to the next place, do it again. Let's go to it's the same thing back in the day and like the early 1900s here in America. The traveling salesman who was ripping people off. He'd go to a new town, set up his new con somewhere else. This is just done on a much higher scale and with a whole lot more people and a lot more moving parts. But it's the same thing.
Yeah, all those 90s movies bigged up all the mercs.
Yep.
And we didn't even think that groups like we didn't know it, but we didn't know that, the Taliban to some extent, Al Qaeda, ISIS, all these are just mercenaries. These are just mercenary groups for the most part. Like the Taliban, I'll give them some. The Taliban, I'll say, was something homegrown because that's Afghanistan, and they've been fighting there for like well over 100 years. So the Taliban, I'll say, was probably a legitimate thing. The rest of them are just mercenaries going from country to country. Look what happened in Libya, mercenary group. Who's doing all the fighting in Syria? Mercenary group. You start to look at what's going on in Nigeria, what's going on in the Congo.
Even the assassinations, the political assassinations that have been going on, mercenary groups.
These are all mercenary groups. The killing of the Haitian president from 2 to 3 years ago at this point, or 2 years ago. Look, that was a mercenary group. So there's actually no terrorist groups, which is something I had to, really, that was something I had to think about.
And a fun movie that we all love that showed us that right in our face and we didn't catch it? The Bourne Identity. Remember, no matter where he went, they were able to pop up another mercenary with the same type of training and skills to go after him.
So there's no real homegrown terrorist, quote unquote terrorist, groups. These are all controlled outlets.
Yep, a lot of times.
It's just like all the shooters here. I always wonder why, like, and I'm not advocating for anybody to do it, and I don't really want to see anybody. Well, I don't want to see anybody do it. But all these shooters, they never go after like politicians or police stations or government or like city halls or governor's mansions or the state capitals. You know, they never seem to do that. It's always a church, a supermarket, a movie theater. It's never where anybody who holds power is. So again, that to me, after looking at a lot of it, there's a lot of, you know, what is it? A lot of zombies walking around waited to be activated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to respond to something real quick in the Rockfin side. Anna was there, I guess, talking about their trips and travels in Africa. When you get to a lot of these other countries, people are actually nicer, a lot nicer and a lot friendlier in these other countries. But our entertainment that we get in the Western world has taught us that we need to fear everywhere else. Like everywhere else is far more dangerous than where you're at, even though you can see on the news people dropping like flies everywhere and all kind of weird, crazy different types of things that are always going on. But no, be more fearful of everywhere else and feel comfortable and safe where you're at, even though you're literally in probably one of the most dangerous places.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all I really got, sir.
Yeah, so let me see. Is there anything else I wanted to before we get out of here?
Let me see. I'm gonna go back and check our
Yeah, because we already at 3, and I know everybody's like, all right, we're tired of listening to you motherfuckers. So you can get off my internet. They like get them off my internet.
Did you want to show your boy from Ireland his speech to Netanyahu?
Oh, I forgot all about that. Oh, yo, your boy, did you see Deontay Wilder get knocked out by the Chinese dude?
No, Zhang beat him?
Yo, it beat him. He knocked him silly in the 5th round. Ooh. Yo, that was bad.
Ooh. I didn't see that coming. I was hoping he was back, but I guess Tyson Fury something.
He got work, bro.
Oh, I got to go check the highlights. I already know Zhang is gonna say his tagline, Chinese power. That's not a racist thing. This boxer really does, after every win, say Chinese power.
Yeah. He caught him bad. When you see the highlights, Marcus, you'll know, bro.
Maybe Rick says Father Time got him. I would say another father got him, Tyson Fury. I think Tyson Fury just knocked something loose in him, and he ain't never been the same.
He hasn't. Since then he you know what? He stumbled across a guy who could handle his power and didn't drop.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, and I saw this early, and I wondered if this was ever going to be a problem, and it turned out to be a problem. Deontay Wilder never really had good defense. No, he was just able to come in all offense and just bomb away, and never protected himself. Not poor head movement, never got off the line, and really was bad about keeping his hands up when he threw punches.
Yeah. He didn't do any of that well.
And I guess even after Tyson Fury whooped you up those couple of times, you still didn't learn to fix that error in your game. I mean, it's the same thing that happened to Tyson. Tyson relied solely on bob and weave and was not good at protecting himself. And also he got predictable over the years. If you could time him, you got him, and that's what happened. The same thing with Yoriorkis Gamboa as he started going up in weight class. One of my favorites, but he went up in more weight class, gained more weight, got a little slower, got a little older, but never protected his chin and start getting tapped on it. So if you don't adjust and you don't change and adjust, time always catches up with you.
Always.
Only the rare specimens can steal. Only like the Jordans and the Kobes and the LeBrons could be like, I'm gonna go down the right side of the court, I'm gonna cross over this dude, and then I'm gonna hit a fadeaway on you and tell you everything that they're gonna do and do it. Everybody can't do that.
It's a fact. Oh, Marcus, I did find something that I'd like to oh yeah. Yeah, man. Actually, just one of my favorites. It was a gift from a good friend. So, anyway,
that's a good point, Nick. A good point, Rick.
Yes. Is there a new Chinese guy winning in boxing? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Zhang, man. You better learn about Zhang.
Ruby said, and my husband just told me to go ahead and watch my show. Wow, that's funny.
Well, what is your show, Ruby? I'm curious because y'all know from my other channel, which I haven't done anything for in a minute. I'm doing it's what is it? Young Morpheus reviews. So I'm gonna be covering a lot more movies, TV shows, stuff like that, and I'll be bringing up some of that stuff too on Travia's channel.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So.
Oh yeah, and by the way, if you guys missed that, we did a live the other night. Y'all go check that out on Travia's channel. If you if you guys follow me on Twitter, I retweeted it out. So just go through my timeline. You'll find it on there.
Yeah, we didn't do no politics. We just talking shit, sports, nerding out, shit like that. But Marcus, this shit right here got me earlier. Peep this.
Get promoted. Do not switch up on your day ones. My last job, we had a self-running system. Numbers were great. Reviews were wheezy F baby. My coworker gets promoted. We're excited for her. We take her out to eat. We want to celebrate. Did you know that within the week, she called in meetings? The most egregious meeting she calls is about bathroom usage. Says she's been watching the cameras and noticed that on average, we go to the bathroom about 10, 15 minutes at a time. I'm confused because I've never seen somebody calculate the mean, median, and mode of a dookie. I raise my hand. I say, are we on reports or is overtime usage high? She says no, then had the nerve to get mad at me when I called her a two-ply spy. A doo-doo detective. You don't have a criminal justice degree. We looked at this job together, and I know they did not ask for 2 to 3 years of experience on being an ass avenger. You chose that.
Much love.
She says, disciplinary action will be taken if we don't reel in the bathroom breaks. I said, disciplinary action? Didn't know they asked you to be the piss police. On poo patrol. No turd too big, no dookie too small. That's you. You proud of that? You and your friends, you and your homies, behind the cameras forming secret societies, watching people go to the toilet. Y'all the potty Illuminati.
The potty Illuminati, what?
Restroom renegades. Would you believe she walked me out?
Yo, it's this clip. Did you see? Yo, I got all right. We throwing some funny shit out there. Man, this clip that I saw. Where did I see it at? I think I saw it on Chiseled Adonis. No, wait a minute. I know where. Yeah. Go to Chiseled Adonis.
On where? On X?
On YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Man, let me see. What is it called?
Yo, I saw that video earlier. I saw that video this morning. I was laughing. I was like, okay, Shorty got me. That was actually very funny. She was like, "You a 2-ply spy?"
The potty Illuminati.
Yo, I was like, okay, that was good. That was good.
The video is titled
So who is it? Who is
the
it now?
dumbest, the chiseled Adonis.
Okay.
You're not familiar with him?
I think so.
Actually, you know what? I got the video. I got it. I'm gonna send it to you.
Oh, okay.
Copy link and
put it in the chat so I'll get it. No, that was
all right. It's there.
Wait.
Oh,
Yip. Oh, Yipper, you want the link to that?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Let me go back and grab it for you, Yipper. Give me a second. Yeah, that should have me. That was a good one. You know, it'd be like I always say, there's a lot of serious shit that be going on. You know, sometimes you just need to fucking laugh.
Yeah, and I saw that. This is Chiseled Adonis is somebody I go to definitely when I need a good laugh, and I recommend y'all subscribe to him too if y'all want to get a good laugh. I mean, and especially if you into combat sports, because he covers a lot of combat sports. He's the one that got me onto what is it? Those fights in Russia where he be having these weird fights. It'd be
did you see the one, the new fights in Romania where the two girls had to fight the dude?
That's probably he was talking about the Kingpin set up these fights, and it'd be all kind of weird stuff going on. Man, it'd be the craziest fights ever. It'd be like a 65-year-old man fighting like 110-pound girl. Be like, what? Who is coming up with these fights?
Yo, did you see the one video where Homeboy said,
Rick know about it. Rick know about it.
Rick saw
it. I was like,
yeah.
Dude, they had a dude in there, and I'm not. Please, I know that I'm probably gonna get some heat for this. I'm not trying to make fun, but they had a dude who didn't have any arms fight two dudes, and he won.
Wow.
Oh, he was kicking the shit out of them. Yes, the dude with no arms beat two guys, arms, legs, no problem, man. He took them out. No, the fights aren't cruel. It's just it's weird. Yes,
I saw this. This dude is super. You see, you can't. My people keep telling me I can't use the R word no more, but this is one of them cases where this is.
All right, so boom. You ever seen somebody break the law and you question yourself asking, how could somebody be this stupid? Well, earlier today, I was scrolling through Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and I came across this video.
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. So just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
You didn't say that. This is a driving while license suspended.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he was just driving. And he didn't have a license.
Tell me you did not just say that.
Is the man retarded? Only driving on a suspended license. And this current hearing is about said suspended license. He joined the Zoom room in a vehicle, actively driving. You couldn't pay somebody to be this stupid.
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
So just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
Are you insane?
Hey.
What's wild to me is, homie, you knew you had this appointment in court at this specific time. Why would you cut it so close to where you in the vehicle? To make matters worse, not only do you join with your camera on. You could have easily jumped into the room with your camera off and talked about technical difficulties until you found a place to park. Furthermore, you said,
just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
Tell me I did not just see that.
You driving. Man said, actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's. Why would you say this?
Nigga, did you know that I can see you?
You stationary?
I'm pulling in right now at this second. Yes, I am.
Look at the judge's face. This got to be the easiest open and closed case he ever had in his career.
I'm pulling in right now at this second. Yes, I am.
All right. What are we doing?
Fans really had the audacity to merit a unmitigated goal to say over the court hearings, give me a second, I'm parking now. Man, you're not supposed to be driving. Your license suspended, stupid. That's what they hear.
You remind me of a jackass.
They asked this man, are you stationary now? He said, I'm pulling in at this second right now. Yes, I am. He proud of himself. The silence was deafening.
Okay. So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he was just driving. And he didn't have a license.
That is with the charges, Your Honor, yes.
No, I'm looking at his record. He doesn't have a license. He's suspended and he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
What I ordered versus what I got. I ordered Huel hot and savory.
I'm sitting there like, when I was watching, I was like, wow, this dude is special.
So the fact that he can't lift up his bottom lip should tell you that even his slow ass know that he fucked up.
I think the judge got to control himself because he want to call him all kind of stupid, you know.
Oh, the judge want to say you dumb nigga. He want to say you old stupid nigga. The fuck you doing in my? Why the fuck would you call nigga? You better say you was late. You was better off walking in here. You was better off doing a whole bunch of other things other than driving and calling, trying to look. And then look, he tried to be all. Marcus, hold on. The thing is, he tried to be all responsible. He thought the excuse that he had ready in his mind was sufficient for the judge. And even the way he said it, right? He's like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, I'm about to like pull in. You know, I got a doctor's appointment. You know, that's important. You know what I'm saying? I gotta make sure my health right. You know what I'm saying, boss? So you know, I'm here at this doctor's appointment. So pardon me for being late.
He could have pulled over, got out of the car, clicked it on, and be like, or even if he would have been like, I'm just in the car. I mean, pulled over the car and be like, I wasn't driving. I just got in the car because I had to get away from the house because it was too noisy and stuff in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, correct. And they would have still been a little like, I don't buy that. Why the hell was you in the car? You don't need to be in the car at all. That would have been better than you got caught literally driving a car. You could have pulled a fucking car over and just stood out in the street. And they're like, why are you outside? Well, because I got to walk to my appointment.
Correct.
I'm waiting for the bus. I mean, came up with anything.
And the moment the judge first talks, That's when you see that bottom lip like just get frozen there. He like,
oh, I fucked up.
Yeah, he completely fucked up. Now he's over there like, God damn, that was my best. He's over there like, yo, that was my best excuse I thought of. Bismarck, he should have known better. Yeah. Yeah, he really thought his the doctor line was top tier get out of jail free card.
Oh yeah, let's see what happens next.
Y'all stupid! Y'all stupid! Get your head out of your ass! That's stupid! Use your common sense.
I promise you, these the type of motherfuckers who was eating glue when we was growing up. He used to pass Crayola crayons all over the walls at all times throughout kindergarten all the way through 5th grade. This is the type of person who needed extra time on his SATs, all standardized tests, not because he had any sort of mental deficiency, simply because he was stupid.
Fucking retard.
You know your license suspended. You ain't supposed to be driving. You joined the court case rulings. Why are you in the car? Behind the wheel, on camera.
You retarded.
Homie must be new to technology or he don't know how Zoom work. Because after 30 seconds of bare silence, he got the nerve to say, hello? Are you guys still there? They can see you. They can see you.
I'm looking at his record. He doesn't have a license. He's suspended and he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Hello?
Look, damn.
What the fuck are you talking about? The fuck are you talking about?
Even the judge confused.
Amazing helps Anthony through night classes. Amazing starts at CSL Plasma. Donate plasma today and receive up to 7.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have YouTube Red.
Man, I gotta give you mine. That way you can click in for the streams because mine's red.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just never, you know what I mean? I got other things. Oh, shit.
In the Zoom courtroom throughout his entire tenure practicing as a judge. And still, this is the one person who has incriminated himself this much in such a short period of time. Man, revoke his bail, son. This is my favorite part. Look at homie's reaction after the verdict was dropped down on his head.
Hello?
1 minute, Mr. Harris.
I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. The defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Harris, I'll be giving you a call.
Okay.
What you acting stressed for? You did this to yourself.
Yeah, that was good.
Goddamn idiot.
Dude. For real. Like, you just did it to yourself. Well, we'll just end on that note, some light, because there's a lot of shit that's happening that's kind of crazy. So, don't be I guess the most important lesson for tonight is don't be a two-ply spy, and don't drive on your way to your hearing on a suspended license. A matter of fact, don't video call the judge while driving while having a Zoom for your hearing on driving on the suspended. Just don't do that. Don't be the potty naughty.
It would have been smart if you'd have just jumped out the car while that bitch was still rolling. Let it run into the building. Don't go back to jail, you fucking idiot.
Correct.
And then you got to tell people why you back in jail.
I know you got to tell your wife, your girl, or whoever is going to bail you out. You got to tell them like, yeah, bro,
not only them. Not only them.
This morning.
Well, you gotta tell the other inmates why you in there for too.
No, I'm saying he could get away with that if they set his bond, he could get in and get out real quick.
Nope.
They're gonna ask him like, yo, what you in here for? He gonna say driving on the suspended, and they're gonna be like, oh, all right.
Hey, if I do his intake.
Yeah, if you do his intake, then yeah, you're gonna tell people.
His intake, when I get back up to the floor, I'm gonna tell y'all know what this stupid motherfucker did while he back.
Yeah,
go ahead, tell him. Come on, Corey, tell him why you here. Tell him why you back. Man, why you have to do me like that, Officer Gage? Oh, you gonna tell me that the other COs ain't gonna do that? I work corrections. I know how they get down. When you do some stupid shit like that, they gonna tell. Everybody in there gonna know what you did.
Yeah.
In fact, I guarantee you, is somebody that's in that jail who's sitting in the courtroom waiting next for their hearing.
Probably.
They heard it and they was like, bro, did you hear this? You hear this idiotic dude just did? Man, I thought my case was bad, but look at this dummy. And they're going to go back and tell. So ain't no way of getting around it. When you get back, they all going to know what your dumb ass did.
But the good thing is, they gave him till 6 and he had a bond. So at the very least, he'll be able to get out within a few hours.
Better not be late. He better not be late. Yeah. Well, if he got money for the bond.
If you know you going in, you're probably gonna make phone calls beforehand to be like, "Yo, dog, get me out of here."
Sir, if you're his family member, are you putting up the money to get him out?
Yeah, I'll curse his dumb ass out, but if I got it, I'll get him out. You know what I'm saying? We gonna have jokes.
With me, if you that stupid, you're more than likely gonna do something else stupid to get your ass sent right back.
Yeah, I know, but me personally, if that's the homie, that's the family, we cool. Yeah, I'm getting him out. You know what I'm saying?
He gonna be walking past a cop with a beer. Somebody, hey, do you know what time it is?
Yeah, that's kind of dumb.
Didn't I give you a ticket for driving on the suspended the other day? You're not supposed to be drinking.
Correct.
I'm telling you, exactly. Mouth breather. He's going to do some more stupid shit right after it. He's going to do some more stupid shit. A good show. Wish I didn't miss a lot of it. Y'all have a good night and sleep well. I agree with Marcus on this one. You're sweet, Chris. He gonna do something stupider and waste your fucking money, and then he's gonna lose the ball.
I know it. You know what I'm saying? I know, but it is what it is, man. Well, anyway.
Well, yeah.
Thank everybody for coming through. We appreciate y'all who stayed with us the whole 3 hours, 29 minutes.
Much love, much
and
love,
those of
much
you
love.
who will like and sub and retweet, share, whatever you do with it, or take this and have the discussions offline with your family and friends. Everybody, we appreciate your participation and your views.
All right, love y'all, everybody. Y'all have a good one. This has been a Political Matrix.